Welcome into the live stream for Hand Raised Guys. I'm Neal McCready. That's Chase Parham. We'll start the actual show here in a minute, give some people a little time to jump in. We've got some football on the screens for the first time since we've been doing this in a while. Real football, that is. West Virginia leads Pittsburgh 7-3. That game fairly early in the second quarter. Got that one going.
The backyard brawl, right?
The backyard brawl. And then we've got Tennessee leads Ball State 24-0, 10 minutes or so to go in the second quarter there in Knoxville.
Seems pretty comfortable for the Vols against Cardinals.
The Cardinals, that is correct. From Muncie, Indiana, I believe, is where they're from. So I'll be with you for a little while. We're going to talk Taylor Zarzer in a minute. We'll start the show and do all that stuff, and we'll take your calls. A lot of stuff on the network. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So don't have many people in, so I kind of wonder if
the link not go out or something.
Did the link not go out? See if I tweeted it. I added you in the tweet, so see if it.
Okay.
People might have me on mute. Who knows?
Okay.
And it's a Thursday night. People are out partying a little bit. People watching football.
Might actually be doing stuff.
Yeah, sure.
We got Missouri La Tech tonight.
Yeah, going to turn to that in a minute.
Those three.
And we got Purdue.
Oh, yeah, Penn State.
Penn State. I think that's
Purdue,
on
Penn
ABC or Fox.
Purdue's first blackout game since the Tower Trent game when they beat Ohio State a few years ago.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I saw that a minute ago.
Keaton Slovis just threw a pick. I'm not sure if he got a foot down.
I really like those old school Pitt uniforms that are now their new Pitt uniforms.
Oh, yeah. That's a good uni.
They did the right thing on going back to it. You know, it kind of followed what the Brewers did. You know, they've tried to get back into their roots a little bit away from the gold and the blue and the whatever. That's a good suit.
Yeah, it's a good suit. Not going to be a pick, though. He didn't get a foot down. Let's see. Get the actual podcast started here in a second. Thanks to everybody for being with us. We'll be with you for a couple hours. Again, Taylor Zarzer in hour number 1, and then we'll take your calls in probably what will be hour number 2. We'll go from there. Been a day. Been a full day. Thursdays are full days.
There's no 4-hour pregame show, though.
No, there's not.
That helps.
Yeah, that was not. There are good ideas, and then there are bad ideas. And it's not that was a bad idea. It just was too long.
It's a lot of show.
It was a lot of show. All right, we'll get rolling. Hang with us. We're going to get to the audition file so I can start it. You ready, Chase?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. Welcome in Thursday night, Hand Raised Guys, Oxford Exxon podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, you know that by now. We have college football on the televisions, regular season football on the televisions. Pitt, West Virginia, Tennessee, hammering Ball State here in the second quarter as we're getting going just after 7 o'clock in that one. Missouri, La Tech, Purdue, Penn State. Full night of football here with you. Also a full night of Hand Raised Guys. We'll take your calls in the second hour. As always, if you're hearing this, calls will be in another episode of the show. It'll be right above where you're at now in the feed, so just be aware of that. We separate them. We've got the show with the guest. Today's guest, Taylor Zarzer, calls a lot of college football, PGA, a lot of stuff there from Taylor and Neal here in the about 45 minutes of the first hour or something like that coming up for you with Neal's longtime friend Taylor Zarzer on the show. So we'll have that. We'll have your calls. A lot of stuff going on here tonight. The Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. This is the Friday podcast. It's got us in trouble last week, but I'll mention it again. Spaghetti and meatballs, the Friday lunch special. Whatever size fountain drink you want, bread, and more there at the Oxford Exxon. Still time if you had to pick up some ribs for your catering. Troy and Ole Miss, 3 o'clock from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Still have time to do that, so let them help you out with your tailgate, with your catering this weekend if you so choose, if you're coming into town for football. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line, no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop it around or do what I've done. What I recommend that you do, and let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Taylor Zarzer and other guests join on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Great place for coming in this weekend to stop by, have a drink, grab a burger, a po' boy, an appetizer, cocktail, whatever the case may be. And enjoy some of the games on all the screens there at Rafters, especially if you go early in the evenings before the college kids take it over around 9 or so. Make Rafters a part of your weekend. Also, there's Rafters in New Albany. Hand Raised Guys is brought to you each and every week by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Excuse me. Same great products, same great service. It's just different names. If you are in the Oxford area, in the Tupelo area, get in touch with Comer, 662-801-1777. If you're in Memphis, Hernando, DeSoto County, that area, get in touch with the people at Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, 662-429-4429. A lot of stuff on our network of shows, on our podcast network, also on
the website at rebelgrove.com.
Rebelgrove.com. Yeah, let's start with the website. We got Neal's picks up this morning, followed by a long, and I do mean long, really, really long, but great read from Brian Rippey about Jackson Dart, his family. I've had some people ask, why, what do you mean misunderstood? Well, I think Chase will agree with this. Jackson Dart has been viewed by a lot of people as this
almost like a SoCal version of Sunshine a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not the truth. And listen, here's the reality. And so I've had some people say, how come you guys haven't written about Luke Altmaier? Well, we have written about Luke Altmaier in the past. This is the first time we really had a chance to write about Jackson Dart in length. Brian sat down with his dad, Brandon, at length in Oxford a couple of weeks ago.
Whatever day the second scrimmage was, that Saturday.
So, yeah, about 2-3 weeks. And did that story, and he is definitely misunderstood. I thought it was a great story, a lot of insight into who Jackson Dart really is. We've had people ask, so does that mean you guys think he's the starter? Not necessarily. I mean, full disclosure, I can't speak for Chase, although I think he shares this opinion. I don't know anyone who doesn't think he's the starter, but I don't know that. I have no idea what the rotation will be. Nothing. No clue.
Here's a couple things to it. I mean, we'll be honest. The inside baseball of it. It was done. So when something is finished, you typically try to publish it for a couple of reasons. One, we don't know for sure who the starter is on Saturday. We don't know who's going to play the most snaps. If Dart is the starter, then we just gave you a preview of the starting quarterback. If Dart is not the starter, well, it would be even stranger to run it next week if that was not the case. So it makes more sense this week. And then also with Ole Miss especially, but Ole Miss also, compared to a lot of programs, you run the risk of some national person writing the story. So there are lots of reasons why you get that out of there as soon as it is ready to be written. I know some people said, well, why not 3 months ago? Well, we couldn't get the people 3 months ago.
Tried.
Things take – things have a way of having a cycle to them a little bit.
We tried through.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much we tried. We tried a lot.
Just kind of is what it is.
It just sometimes things don't quite work out. But it's a good story, great story by Brian. So that's up as well. Let's see on our I guess it's on both the podcast and the podcast network. Brian's got his podcast with Ryan Buchanan. That's up today. Our podcast from earlier today is up as well with Jeffrey Wright as our special guest. And then on our YouTube channel, we've got a number of shows. McCready and Siskey. Episode 13 is up. Tyler and I made our picks for the week. I picked non-SEC games, so that was pretty interesting for me to dive out of my comfort zone a little bit. We'll see whether that works out. We have Pete's Pigskin Preview with Pete DeWeese, sponsored by Walk-On's Sports Bistro. Walk-On's puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. So if you're coming to Oxford for the weekend, stop by Walk-On's. If you're in the Jackson area, stop by Walk-On's in Ridgeland and check them out as well. Also, they can take care of your tailgating needs this season. Inquire today about their family and friends bundles and tailgate platters. Order online or on their very convenient, cool app, the Walk-On's app. If you don't have that app and you go to Walk-On's, you should absolutely get it. It's a really friendly app. So that's up. We also have The Butcher versus the Spin Instructor, Season 3, Episode 1, with Greg Jones, Campbell McCready. And they picked their games. That was a really fun show. That's brought to you by LB's Meat Market, LB's 2008 University Avenue in Oxford. I was distracted because Campbell was texting me right there. 2008 University Avenue, freshest cuts in Oxford. Both of us frequent LB's a lot. You should too. whether it's beef or pork or chicken or sausages. They've got plates. They've got seafood, everything. It's all there at LB's, mushrooms, peppers, the whole deal. Look at Louisiana Tech driving on Missouri here on the opening drive of that game. So that's up as well. Mind on My Money, which is presented by Pinnacle, that's up as well. It's mypinnwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. We talked about the water situation in Jackson. We talked about schizophrenic markets, talked about electric vehicles, all of that stuff on Mind on My Money. So there's a ton there. If we haven't given you anything today that you like, then we either suck or you're picky. You're really picky. I mean, one or the other. I mean, or both. That's okay. But that's all up at our family of sites.
Louisiana Tech is like a Tide detergent commercial because the uniforms are very, very clean and very fresh. But Sonny Cumbie's hoodie is like neon glowing white. I mean, it looks like that thing has been bleached 14 times when they show him on the sideline.
To me, Louisiana Tech's uniforms
they're not bad.
They are, but they are an example of why Adidas sucks.
Look how white that is.
It is very, very white. Look, red, white, and blue. They have Buffalo Bills colors.
They do. Should be really good colors. Easy colors.
It's just hard to mess it up, and they've done okay with it. I mean, it's not a bad uniform by any stretch. Like, I think it's better than Missouri's uniform.
Well, hell.
Oh, that's a pick. Got tipped and picked. Mizzou. Oh,
that could have been much worse right there on that block. That was wide open.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all. That's all we got going on. Watching games. It's fun. Football.
Out of the 6 teams we were watching, Pitt by far has the best uniforms.
Not close.
Of anybody we are currently.
Why does Missouri not break out a white pant with the black shirt? It's just.
They moved to the SEC, but they did not move into the SEC with uniforms.
And when you wear the stripe on the uniform, the stripe's got to go all the way up the hip. It's got to go to the waistband. It can't stop at the thigh.
They look very Big 12 in their uniforms.
So, see, here's the difference. Let's see. So, Purdue is going all black.
Yeah, they're doing a blackout game.
And Penn State's wearing their traditional white.
Yeah, which is a good suit.
But, see, their pants, if you're going to go solid, go solid. If you're going to wear a stripe, wear a stripe.
Penn State good or too plain?
I have no problem with their uniform. It's fine.
Okay. I mean, literally, it looks like a generic. I mean, there's nothing there, but yeah, sure. You recognize them, you know them when you see them on the screen.
Yeah. No, they're fine. They're one of the handful of teams that can get away with that.
With the nothing.
Yeah.
Is Purdue supposed to be decent?
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah.
Purdue's uniform is fine. It's just they're going all black, so they're embracing that completely.
I don't mind their normal uniforms.
No, I actually kind of like their normal suit. And I don't hate that. I mean, the difference between Nike and Adidas is just
yeah.
I mean, nothing. Listen, Adidas, if you want to advertise on the show, I can change my tone immediately, but I don't like Missouri. I've watched 2 plays offensively, and I'm like, no, they're not.
You've watched 2 plays?
I've seen enough.
That's it? Vandy all the way? Go Doors?
Dude, I'm just telling you, that Monday's going to be fun. I'm going to let you have it. I'm going to be obnoxious. I mean, you're going to show up like, oh, God, here we go. We're going to talk.
Do we know the Vanderbilt fight song?
I'll learn it.
Okay. I don't.
It'll be 55 minutes of Vanderbilt talk. Everyone who doesn't already hate me will officially hate me by the end of then. But I just think Vanderbilt's getting a game. Where is the Vanderbilt-Missouri game?
Look at that run.
Not that it matters. I saw it.
Saw that?
It was 3rd and 16, and he ran for 10 yards. I mean, that results in a punt. I'm glad you're impressed. You're in midseason form. Oh, they're going for it on 4th down. Oh, I bet he's going to punt, right? Are you being cute? Eli Drinkwitz's going for it on 4th down. Oh, please don't convert. Please don't convert.
You think they're running a play?
No, they're not running.
They're trying
play.
to draw
This is Eli.
Is he literally going to call timeout in the first quarter after trying to run them off sides?
I got 8 seconds on the play clock. Don't jump. Whatever you do, don't jump. Yeah, burn a timeout.
He's just going to take the penalty.
Okay.
He was just a delay game. Take the penalty.
I hate all that cute crap.
Well, if you need that against La Tech in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? Just
play.
punt the ball. Just punt the ball and play.
At Missouri.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll matter. What's the date on that?
October 22nd.
Okay, it's the day Ole Miss is in Baton Rouge.
That is correct. It is sandwiched between Georgia and South Carolina.
I might be the only person in the stadium, in Tiger Stadium, watching the Vanderbilt game in that moment going, come on, let's go. I don't know what it is about Missouri and Drinkwitz that I just don't like.
So what do you think?
I don't know. I need to – I'm just telling you, it's doable for the Doors. As long as they're not just beat up to hell.
It's getting a little late in the year. It's starting to get a little late. I mean, they did punt.
Yeah, they were always going to punt. So don't do – oh, come on, go. Take it to the house. Come on. Oh.
Those noises we were made, speaking of Vanderbilt, that's what Larry Leathers would do behind us in the press box as it was going right there.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Second Nate.
And then I'd be like, so you're yelling at us about making noise in the press box and you are cheering. Look at that. And that could have been a penalty.
It could have been a face mask. Big boy got a little bit there.
John Rice Plumlee apparently off to a great start for UCF.
They are playing South Carolina State tonight, and they're their opener.
And here's a hot take: John Rice Plumlee could go win the Heisman this year at UCF.
Okay,
and it would still have been the right decision for Lane Kiffin to go with Matt Corral.
Sure.
Before anybody tries to rewrite history, John Rice, and I hope he does. He's a nice kid.
Oh, look, I'll be honest. Yeah, look, nobody did anything really wrong here. Lane Kiffin made the correct decision for himself. Matt Corral made the best decision for himself.
He did.
And John Rice Plumlee made the best decision for himself.
Absolutely.
John Rice Plumlee gets one college career.
Yes.
He gets to spend that however in the hell he chooses to spend that.
Absolutely.
If he wants to play baseball and football, play baseball and football. If he wants to stay at quarterback even though he doesn't play, stay at quarterback. I don't care. That's great.
Whatever you want to do.
Frankly, if anything has been untoward in this whole thing, it's the NCAA toward John Rice Plumlee for not letting him play baseball.
Because he should have been able to play baseball.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, he should have been out there roaming center field for UCF.
Otherwise.
But from a decision standpoint, when people try to rewrite this history, if he goes and wins the Heisman, it was still the right call for Ole Miss.
Yes. Not
simple as that.
Not even close.
And when people say Lane tweets about him or whatever, I think Lane genuinely likes the person, John Rice Plumlee.
Yeah, I mentioned this on the board. Richard's doing the game tonight. I wonder if that is Plumlee related, if ESPN had him call that versus some other game because of Plumlee.
Because he knew his background.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not at all. Maybe it was just random assignment. But if you're getting some random assignment in the country, it is a little interesting that it would be with Plumlee at quarterback.
Tell me if you want me to flip to anything, by the way. I just turned to this for a minute.
No, I think we're
curious.
okay at the moment. We're going to go to Taylor in a second anyway. Tennessee up 31-0 on Ball State.
You were the only person in Neal's picks
really?
everybody else took the points.
So can we just cancel the season here in like hour and 45 minutes, something like that?
Absolutely
just
not.
Call it.
We all had Louisiana Tech taking the points.
Okay.
So those are only two SEC
It's going to be kind of like that Ole Miss Bama game where DK took it down the sidelines after like 1 minute. Go, okay, that's it right there, 7-0. This thing's all over.
Big night at Purdue. Look at the student section packed.
Ross Ade Stadium in West Lafayette.
You ever been there?
I have not.
Yeah. It's not a bad stadium. It's a cool little setting.
Adam Kuffner, the director of communications at Purdue.
Yeah. Former assistant at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Did a great job with basketball.
Yeah. He is the head dog at Purdue. They said they like bring the train thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They bring the train out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
I spent more time at Purdue than I ever thought I would. So been there I've been there for like 3.5, 4 days.
Multiple trips?
No.
Just the one trip?
It was one trip.
Oh, that's where you had to cover the NIT.
Yep. I covered Purdue and Auburn. Purdue beat Auburn, and I was headed back to Indianapolis to go home, and they said turn around and go back to West Lafayette because Alabama won, and they're going to play there in a couple of days. And I was like, well, son of a – I don't have any clothes. And they're like, well, go buy some. So I went to Walmart.
They kept you in West Lafayette for multiple days to cover an NIT game. That tells you what has changed in the industry.
Yeah, I spent a day like walking around the Purdue campus like, what the hell am I supposed to do today? It's March in Purdue.
Is it cold?
It was cold, but it wasn't like frigid. It
Okay.
was cold, but it wasn't bad. I had a jacket. It was okay.
Did you buy the jacket or you had the jacket?
No, I had the jacket.
Did you?
But yeah, I was ready to get out of there. I made a smart-ass call after Purdue beat Alabama. And I said, do you want me to stay here for the next game or what?
Oh, so Purdue was wrecking folks, just running through the whole thing.
Yeah, they had a cool basketball. They still the same arena. They liked the basketball up in the Big Ten. They were into it.
Who's their coach?
Now it's
Painter. Yeah.
Then I guess it was still Gene Cady.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So. All right, we'll go to Taylor Zarzer now on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Again, some football. I think you asked a golf question, didn't you?
I asked football, a couple of golf questions at the end just for your benefit.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So here's Taylor Zarzer of, I guess, ESPN, Sirius,
SEC Network. He's with a bunch of people.
Yeah, here on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Here's Taylor.
My very good friend Taylor Zarzer, kind enough to spend some time here on the Little Potato Log podcast that could. Taylor is, Taylor, when you left Mobile for Charlotte, I should have just said, you know what, I'm coming with you.
What's crazy?
I'm gonna ride the train.
You know what's crazy is you look younger today than you did when we were doing the show 20 years ago, by the way. And I look like I'm 75. So
the check is in the mail, my friend. That's very nice.
Man, I'm gonna get on my elliptical and my Peloton and then go run as soon as this is over with.
That's nice of you. How's it been going? You've been busy. I know you've been doing golf stuff. You were over in Scotland, and every time I see you, you're like the voice of. I guess you are kind of the voice of the PGA Tour, and you're kind of everywhere.
Life is great. I at 44 have still not figured out how to say no to things. I get super excited when somebody offers me an opportunity to do something that I think I'll enjoy, and I have more to do and more that I'm enjoying than I've ever had before. I am doing the Panthers preseason games. That just ended.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm running this Sirius XM PGA Tour channel. Lord knows anyone that ever thought I'd be an executive would have been in total shock about that. But I'm doing a daily show. I'm doing, as you said, the majors, and then I'm doing these college football games. In fact, if you could tell me who's starting at quarterback for Ole Miss on Saturday, I would really appreciate that. But yeah, no, I have a whole lot going on, and I'm really thankful for all of it. I love my wife and my daughters dearly, and I'm trying to multiply as much time I get with them as possible. Believe it or not, this is the last year the four of us will ever live in the same house. It's crazy. They're juniors and seniors in high school, and you obviously are going through this with them and your daughters in college now. It goes by fast, and I'm trying to tell myself that I don't need to sign up for all these games because I'm not going to look back and say, man, I really wish I would have called that game. But I am going to look back and say, man, I wish I had more time with Katie and Grace. So
yeah, you will. I've told people this. I'm back going to games again for the first time since middle of 19. Chase is going to do our post-game show, and I'm going to go cover games. And I felt like our written product the last couple of seasons. In 2020, it didn't bother me because it was like everything was on Zoom and it was pandemic, and I was like, who cares? Like, right. People are just happy to have football. No one's reading, whatever. Last year, it kind of bugged me. I thought our written product on game day I thought it was lacking. And so I'm going to try to at least salvage some of that is what I meant to say. But I'm not going to the Georgia Tech game because it's Kyo Dad's weekend at Arkansas. And I've told people there's a 0% chance that I would ever look back and go, you know what? I wish I'd covered that Georgia Tech game.
Yeah.
I've covered so many football games, but that didn't cover that one, and it really bugs me. But there was a real chance that I would look back and go, I really regret disappointing my girls on the last year that they're going to be at Arkansas together.
Can I just say that you once covered an Auburn-Georgia Tech game in Atlanta, and Auburn was 0-2, and you and I were doing a show together at this time, and Auburn won that game that day, and Carlos Dansby gave maybe the greatest quote of all time to you, which was, the Son of God was resurrected on the third day, and the Auburn Tigers rose on the third game. drawing that parallel might be the best quote I've ever heard in sports. But you do have some familiarity with covering games in Atlanta at that old relic. So I'm sorry you'll miss that.
Yeah, I hate that I'll miss that one. I've been there before. I can say I've marked that off the list. All right, so you and your crew, you got the Ole Miss Troy game on Saturday. How do these assignments get drawn out? Is it just they tell you where you're going?
We have a beer drinking contest. No. They tell us before the season, the first couple of games, where we're going and what our crew can expect. And I'm excited to be back in Oxford. First of all, this is the first time I've been in Oxford. You're going to have to help me with this. I think it's 4 years. Ole Miss tried not to kick a football to Deebo Samuel. It still went to him, and he took it to the house, 85 yards. That was the first play of the game. They literally tried not to kick it to him. It still went to him, and he took it. I think that was 2018 when the Gamecocks played the Rebels, and that's the last time I've been to Oxford, and I love Oxford, Mississippi. It is, one of my favorite places to do a game, and anyone that's obviously paying any attention to this knows why I love it so much. So to not get to go there, to not get an assignment there for 4 years, kind of stunk, obviously. I did do a couple of Ole Miss games 2 years ago in Lane Kiffin's first season. I did his first win.
You did those from your basement, basically.
No, right here.
Yeah.
This exact chair with this exact backdrop. I did the Ole Miss Kentucky game when they beat Kentucky, his first win, I believe.
Yeah.
And did the Ole Miss LSU game, which was crazy, in December in Baton Rouge. And that's it. I have not done any Ole Miss games since, so I'm excited to get back there.
How the hell would you call those? Are two great games, by the way. I still don't know how people were able to call those games from remote locations and it sound the way that it did. It was some people did not do it very well. You did, and a few others did, but I was always kind of wowed by that's got to be hard.
Do you want me to show around the room here? Would that be helpful if
Sure.
I show how I did? Okay. So first of all, I have this board, which I have for every game, and it has all the players on it, and I write copious amounts of notes on the board. But I've got a monitor that I'm looking at that was right over there. I've got another monitor that was right there, and then I've got a monitor that I'm looking at right now, and it's got every camera on the grounds. It's got our program feed. And then I have the 8-second delay feed that the whole world gets right here. And then I've got another Zoom that was stationed right here. And the only person that was allowed to go in to the broadcast booth during COVID was our spotter. And he is projecting he's got a copy of this, and he's projecting that board, and he's pointing nonstop, at that board and who's getting what. And we also had an audio extra step that we used. Not a lot of people did that, but he would say, he'd unmute, and I had a little earpiece, and he would say, Taylor, Altmaier's going out, Dart's coming in, just to give me a heads up before the play actually started, watching, because I can't see the sidelines.
So you had his voice, you had the producer's voice, and then you're also trying to listen to the rest of your crew.
That's exactly right. Yep. And so Russ, my spotter, was aware, he needs to pick his spots if he's going to speak. But he would say, Altmaier's coming out, Dart's coming in, or Altmaier's warming up on the bench, just heads up. He could be coming in on the next drive, because I can't see that, because all I can see is what everybody at home can see. Yeah. And so it was incredibly challenging going through that season.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Did it make you a better broadcaster?
I think so. Yeah. It definitely, it was exhausting. You're trying to concentrate so hard on everything that's happening that it was definitely more exhausting. But I'll tell you for sure what it did. It made me miss being on site. As nice as it was to go back into the house and see my family as soon as the game was over, it really made me miss everything that comes with going to a game. Matt Stinchcomb, who's one of my best friends and my analyst for the 5th straight year, had a quote one time as we were leaving the Graduate Hotel to go to Ajax to eat dinner. He just kind of stopped me and he said, just look at this place as we're going into the square. He said, Ole Miss is an island of awesome. And it is. It really is. It's an island of awesome. Some may have other comments about the rest of the state of Mississippi, but that, no question, is an island of awesome. And to be able to experience all of that on a Thursday, a Friday, on a Saturday around the game, you really, really miss that, Neal.
Yeah, because you don't have that color or that feel, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the part that I've been doing since we started in the middle of 19 doing a post-game show. We took calls, and we're going to still do it, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, at the Zoom year, it was like a blast. I loved it. It was because I didn't think I felt no regret for not like being on the Zoom to ask Lane Kiffin questions. We took they would put it up on the FTP. We'd play it on the show. It was fine. But last year it was different, because last year was normal again, and like that Texas A&M game, and not being at the stadium where you can't really feel it. You can see it on television. You have an idea of what it's like. I mean, you watch a game that's a crazy game somewhere, and you get a feel that, hey, this place is nuts today, or this place is kind of dead today, or whatever. But when you're not physically there, it's hard to pass that along to the people who are reading your content or who are listening to you. And
no question. I
don't know. It's kind of that's the part sort of looking forward to. I mean, I'll still be the guy in the press box that's got. Here's what I will miss. I will miss sitting in here and having the Ole Miss game on the main TV, but being able to like flip on two other games and having a game on my computer, and there'll be some stuff like that I'll kind of miss. I think I'll actually see less college football than I saw.
There's no question you will. There's no question you will. And let me just say this real quickly. You're one of the best reporters that's ever lived, and I had the great thrill of watching you break some stories that no one would have ever made up years ago, that included a gentleman's club in Pensacola, Florida, that included some interesting characters in Mobile, Alabama, that were trying to help the University of Tennessee's football program. There were some stories that I just can't believe that you broke, but you had to be there in order to break them. You had to go and live that in order to break them. And here we are in 2022, in every television network, and really just about any network known to man, whether they're video or not, does not covet that. They just covet an opinion. They covet an entertaining, charismatic, it doesn't matter if it's informed, opinion. And I think the world really misses the connection to the community that the reporters and the personalities had for so long. And you'll see this, Neal, as you go to all these games. There's a whole lot less people that are covering teams now than there used to be. And I don't think that we're better for that.
I still remember your face. We were sitting in the WNSP bus thing. We're out at some car dealership, and it was on a Friday. And
I think I drove the bus there too, by the way.
I kept getting phone calls, and I would call people back during the breaks, and you were starting to get frustrated with me. And I told you, I said, I don't know if this is a big story or a total joke, but if it's a big story, it is a really big story. And you're like, what is it? And I was like, I can't really tell you a lot, but I told you a little bit.
Yeah.
And by the end of that weekend, I think we all knew where that was going. That was nuts. That remains one of the nuttiest. That Saturday morning was crazy. I was bathing my dog, and I had to take a call, and sure enough, it's like, oh, this is real. And yeah, so
the next thing you know, you're in Artie's Angels parking lot.
Made for a fun week of radio for us. That's for sure.
Oh boy, did it! Holy cow!
Yeah, all that Friday frustration was worth it when we had plenty to talk about on was it April? Yeah. We weren't having to talk about Major League Baseball that week. No, sir. All right. So you've been around Kiffin. You and I were talking about this a little bit. I told you, I said, hey, have you talked to Lane yet? We're taping this on Wednesday afternoon, and you're like, no, I think you're doing it tomorrow. Thursday evening.
No, Friday mid-morning. Yeah.
I said, Lane's a different dude. Lane's changed a lot. From what you've observed from afar, what have you been able to see with the transformation of Lane Kiffin in Oxford?
There's no question that it's fascinating in 2022, his physical transformation and what seems to be his spiritual transformation has changed significantly from what we've seen the last 7-8 years. I was around him a good bit when he was the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He came on a talk show that I did when he was the head coach at FAU, and I did a couple of his games his first year at Ole Miss. And the guy that I got to know between 2014 and 2020 was exactly the same. Hard to connect with, honestly. Somebody that I think is really uncomfortable in many social settings. Like he's unbelievable on social media.
Yeah.
But when he has to be in the same room with you and or in an environment like this, I'm not sure he's very comfortable with that. But the guy that, and again, I can give you a much better answer probably Friday at lunchtime than I can right now. But from what I've seen from afar so far this year, it seems like we have a very different person that is the head coach at Ole Miss. I'm not saying this to defend in anything, but I am saying this to try to explain it. If you went and you look, Neal, and I'm sure you've actually done this, but if you looked at the first 22 years of Lane's life, really the first 18 years of Lane's life, and you look at where Monty Kiffin, his dad, of course, who's still on the staff at Ole Miss, if you looked at where his dad worked those first 18 years, and then you see where the Lane went to college at Fresno State, coached at USC, and you see all the places he's been since then, it's 19 moves, and he's in his late 40s.
Yeah.
He's lived one place in his life for 5 years. He in high school, or going through birth through high school, he never lived anywhere more than 3 years. I think that this guy has had a really hard time connecting with the world because he's never been in the same place. And it feels like he's trying in his late 40s to finally connect with the community. And who knows what is in store for him at the end of the year. If Ole Miss wins, 9+ games in a year where they're not maybe talked about as much as they were the last couple of years, he might have an opportunity to go someplace else. But I think, I really believe this. I think for the first time, he doesn't want to go somewhere else. Like he could see himself really putting some roots down in Oxford for years to come. I think like everybody else, he'll be smart about whatever happens at the end of the year. But I could see him saying, you know what, I'm happy here. I could be the head coach at Ole Miss for many years to come. So if I'm an Ole Miss fan, that actually would encourage me.
Yeah, I get a lot of people that talk about Auburn. There's already this assumption that Brian Harson's not going to make it through the end of the season. We might make it through the season, but he's not going to make it to 2023. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, college football is crazy, and teams that you think aren't going to win, and teams that you think are going to win don't win, whatever. But if you do the thing where you go, hey, the writing's kind of on the wall and Harson's in trouble, which I think is more than fair. People do it's going to be Lane Kiffin. And 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, he'll leave Ole Miss for Auburn like that. No question. Auburn historically is a better job. They produce Heisman winners. They've played for national championships. They've won national championships, on and on and on. Today, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm not. In fact, if you made me bet, I'd bet that he would not leave Ole Miss for Auburn because of a lot of what you just said. I mean, Ole Miss has just completely embraced him. They've made him the program. They've made him the brand, which I don't know if it's important to him to be the brand. I think it kind of is. I think he wants to be the brand. I think he likes that attention. He's incredible at social media. And when the school makes you the brand, that he can really dive into that and use it for his recruiting advantages. And then his daughter moved here.
Yeah.
And you know this. I mean, you have a daughter that age. It's kind of a fun age to be a dad because I said this the other day. High school girls run in packs for the most part. I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions, but for the most part, they kind of run in these packs.
Boy, is that the case.
And it's not like that with boys, really. Like Carson's here, and
yeah,
we never see Carson's friends. They might come pick him up, but he's out the door. I mean, we're not. They're not coming in and hanging out. Like I knew Campbell's little pack, and Caroline had a big pack. And I knew all of them. I mean, like they would come up and talk to me, and I mean, I got to know them So I suspect that that's happening with Lane, with Landry, his daughter, that she's running in a pack with a bunch of girls that are that age, and that's a fun age. They're they got a lot going on in their lives, and there's stuff, and there's energy, and all of that. And I'm sure that to some degree they're intimidated by the Ole Miss football coach. And then on the other hand, a lot of them, I suspect Lane has just become Landry's dad, which is cool. And I think that's changed him a little bit. I think it softened him and made him appreciate the community and all of that stuff. But I think it's also kind of made him a part of the community. Like he can go to he went to the first day of school. They had like some pep rally sort of thing for the seniors. And Lane went as a dad. And I think people left him alone and let him be Landry's dad. And, you could kind of see some of that stuff sort of resonating with him a little bit.
That's great to hear. And I think if you also consider the fact that the last 7-8 years have been hard personally, with the divorce that he went through and, only seeing your children occasionally, not every day. I think the fact that he is getting to see at least one of his kids every day, I think also could be a factor. But as you just talked about, where there might be an opening, I think you made some good points about why would he do that, instead of stick where he is, on top of the reasons you just referenced. If we are going to play the game of, what might be open at the end of the year, the one spot that I would look at would be Florida State. It'd be because if Norvell has another losing season, well, if that's the case, he's not going to be the head coach next year. And because Florida State doesn't have as much disappointment as they've had the last few years without changing a football coach again. And if that is the case, then I would maybe look there. The point is Lane Kiffin's always going to be on somebody's radar, but I think the chances of him staying in Oxford are higher now than they were in year one or year two.
What would be interesting about Florida State, not to spend much time on this, but whether I'm Lane Kiffin or anybody else, especially if I'm a Big Ten or an SEC coach today, my question with Florida State is, what's your league situation going to be?
Right.
Because this financial thing's about to get real.
It is about to get real. I feel pretty confident, Neal, that the world is going to look pretty similar for the next 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Now, in the grant of rights thing, getting out of that, having to tie so much money to a conference you're no longer in, I think is a major sticking point. The ACC is going to try hard to keep itself intact, if not add to its current conference. There is no question there is going to be a gulf between the SEC / the Big Ten and any other conference.
Yeah.
But I do think I could see a scenario where the Pac-12 crumbles because it's a lot easier to get out of that conference than it is to get out of really any other one that's a power league right now. So I could see maybe, instead of 5 power leagues, there being 4. But if you're asking me, 5 to 10 years from now, I'd be pretty confident the SEC and the Big Ten are going to be pretty much it. But for the next 3 or 4 years, I think it's going to be very challenging for a school like Florida State or a Clemson or a North Carolina to leave their current league. I know that the SEC and the Big Ten, as an example, would love the Tar Heels to join their league.
Of course.
But I think if you're UNC, as an example, I think they're going to look at how much money it's going to cost them to leave and if it makes any sense. Why not just wait until the dust settles with all these television contracts in 4 or 5 years?
You're really connected with ACC schools. You probably would downplay that, but a lot of people in that league from all your days in Charlotte radio when you were banging out and you were doing a lot of Carolina stuff and Duke stuff. And if you're North Carolina, yeah, you wait for the stuff to settle. But I'm trying to put you inside the room in Chapel Hill for a minute.
Yeah.
The Big Ten contract's kind of out right now. It's going to be $65 to $70 million per school per year, and then that's going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC thing's getting worked on, and I've heard numbers. I'm sure you've heard numbers. There are these whispers of every SEC school is going to get $80 million a year in the first year, and then it's just going to go up, and it's eventually going to pass $100 million. And this is informed people who are saying this. The ACC deal is locked in through the grant of rights. The TV deal's not, whatever, but it's nowhere close to that. Not even in that ballpark. If you're North Carolina and you look at the Gulf, as you said, and it's a good word for it, if the Gulf is $45 to $50 million a year, Taylor, what does North Carolina do? And if they had their choices, do they go Big Ten or do they go SEC? Where's the fit?
I think their fans, I think the overwhelming majority of their fans, I think the overwhelming majority, Neal, of the fans would want to go to the Southeastern Conference. In recent years, I think that UNC fans have realized how much they love football. They've been one of the ultimate basketball schools forever, and they still have an incredible passion for basketball. But I think that everybody has noticed that the national love of college basketball has waned a bit in recent years. and the love of college football, it hasn't changed. If anything, it's only grown. And I think that UNC fans, especially since Mac Brown came back, have realized how much they love football. So I think from a fan standpoint, I think they'd like to go to the SEC. From inside the school, this is, well, like you said, I do know a few people. I think I think they'd rather go to the Big Ten. I think they think of the Big Ten, fair or unfair, I think they think of the Big Ten as a more studious environment than
more
the SEC.
More academically prestigious. There's more schools like that I think they want to associate with. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because I keep hearing the same thing, and I'm nowhere near connected to North Carolina, none at all. But when I talk to people in that league who kind of around that league, they're like, their fans, the state of North Carolina, the people there, they want the SEC. They want that game with Tennessee. They want that game with South Carolina. They want Alabama to come to town. They want to see LSU. They want to go party in the Grove, all that stuff.
Make no mistake, we're still the South here. Like, we very much are. Maybe we're closer to the North, but we're still the South. And I think that there's no doubt that the connection to SEC schools would be felt as you played those games much more than it would if you played the Big Ten. I mean, I can think of 7 or 8 schools in the Big Ten where UNC fans would say, Iowa, Purdue.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go through the list. I'm not taking shots at those schools, but I think that's the way the fans would react if those schools are coming to town. You could do the same exercise with the SEC and say, wow, we're going to Oxford, Mississippi to play a college football game. I mean, I'm telling you, there'd be 20,000 Tar Heel fans that would show up for that.
Yeah, I was told that when Arkansas went there for the baseball super regional, that they took a ton of people, and North Carolina looked around, and supposedly some of the athletic people said, "This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
this is what we're supposed to be. This is the fit. If they bring that many for a baseball series, what would they bring for a football game? And then if they bring that many people, what would Tennessee bring? It's a game changer, right? So I don't know. It's interesting because then there's time, because I agree with you. I think we're going to hit the pause button a little bit, at least until Notre Dame makes a decision. And then I think all hell's going to break loose, and people are going to have to make quick decisions that they need to be thinking, and they are thinking about now, because the money's just going to be, the money is going to be sobering.
It is going to be sobering. One thing that I'm excited about, I know some people are saying, good grief, this is not what it was like when I fell in love with college football. But one thing that I am potentially excited about is if the SEC is at 16 and then eventually is at 20, and who knows where it goes from there, is I do think that you'll see the regional rivalries. Let's just use Mississippi State, LSU, throw in an Alabama maybe as an example for Ole Miss. I think the Rebels would still play those teams every year. I think there's a better chance that they would play 9 or 10 conference games every year instead of 8. And I do think they would also add a high-profile non-conference game as well, meaning that you would get 10 or 11 great regular season opponents, and maybe you have, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but maybe you'd have one Central Arkansas in there, per year, or one Troy.
Don't take a shot at ULM. Be careful here.
Yeah,
you're doing fine so far.
Your Warhawks could be thrown in there too.
No, you're right, because ESPN and Fox are paying the big ticket item, right? So when you're paying this money, you're not paying the Mercedes dealership to go in and drive a Honda Civic. You're nothing against Honda Civics, but you're paying Mercedes.
And listen, there's one SEC network play-by-play guy that would be ecstatic about those changes.
Of course. Yeah, you'd be thrilled. You'd be thrilled beyond words. All right, I'm in this pause again. We're having a little. He's back. No, you're back. You're back. You're good. Okay. We're closing in on being done. So let me ask you about Ole Miss and Troy. You got this game coming up. What do you hear about? By the way, the internet situation's mine, not yours. What do you hear about Ole Miss going into this season? What do you sort of anticipate from the Rebels here in Week 1?
I think that they are maybe the biggest unknown in the league, because they have 17 transfers. We have all these guys that you're putting into your program. I think that how they mesh with the rest of the team is a complete unknown at the beginning of the year. You could also argue that they're adding as much talent via transfers as anybody is in the SEC. I mean, if this kid, Michael Trigg, is what everybody says he is, then with all due respect to Kenny Yeboah, this guy's better than that. If Zach Evans is everything that everyone says he is, well, he's better than any running back that Ole Miss has had the last couple of years. And if that's the case, then all of a sudden the Rebels are a contender in the SEC West. I'm not saying they're beating Alabama, but I'm saying at the top of the SEC West, a contender to win double-digit games again this season. The biggest question I think that everybody has is what is happening at quarterback right now. You don't bring in Jackson Dart unless you think he's going to be your starting quarterback. And I don't know that that's been determined yet. And there is a real chance, Neal, that I think we may see this play out the first couple of weeks in the season, which would make all the sense in the world, really, as you're playing Troy and Central Arkansas to try to figure that out on the field between Dart and Altmaier. But if Dart does not work the way that everybody thinks or hopes he would work, that could be a big issue for Ole Miss. And then they're closer to, 6 or a 7-win team. But if he's the guy that was so highly touted out of USC and he turns into that guy in Oxford, then I think they have a chance to be at the top of the SEC West. It's fascinating, though. All these guys that transfer, everybody says, well, they're going to be the savior. I mean, JT Daniels is going to lead Georgia to a national championship. And instead, he doesn't even start for them. He's a backup quarterback, and now he's at a new school. By the way, Jackson Dart's old teammate. And you've got another kid at Slovis at Pitt who also was Jackson Dart's teammate who was going to be the savior at USC. And now he's over at Pittsburgh. So I know I'm rambling a bit in saying this, but I think that we're not going to know the answer in September as to how well this team gels together because of all these transfers. But if it works out the way that Lane Kiffin wants it to, then I think Ole Miss could have close to the same kind of season they had last year.
So how's this work? You sit down with Lane at some point on Friday and get some background, and then when Troy gets into town, you talk to John Summerall a little bit, and then you get ready for the game on Saturday? Is that basically the day?
Typically, when we have a game like this, we will talk to the visiting team via Zoom. And so we'll do that on Thursday, and we'll talk to Summerall about his Troy team. I did a Troy game last year. There's a whole lot of players that played on that team that are back on this team, a lot of experience coming back for Summerall's team. And I know John from his time at Kentucky and at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And so it'll be good to talk to him on Thursday, and we'll get an idea of what he's thinking going into this game. And then, we'll talk to Lane on Friday, and we'll talk to the coordinators and get a sense of how they feel. I hope they're not pressed for time because, especially week one, I'm just as interested to know who these guys are and what the coaches expect from their players as anyone. So I want to get as much of a breakdown of what each position group looks like, especially when you're Ole Miss and you're really reforming your team almost entirely, through the transfer portal. And I'm not knocking them for doing it. This is the way of the world in 2022, but they're utilizing the portal more than anyone. And so that, I think, sort of changes your identity. So I'm going to be asking Lane and the assistants quite a bit on Friday about all of that.
Yeah, they've embraced it. I think they felt they had no choice, and I think they're probably right, that they had no choice but to embrace the portal, and they really went after the portal. I mean, big time. And I think you're going to see them pull back a little bit now that they've had some success and they can recruit the high school level a little bit. And this is one of the things I really appreciate about Lane is that Lane will admit this, that the price in the portal's gone up. It's more expensive now to get players out of the portal. And I'm talking about NIL. I'm talking about legal transactions. They're just higher than they were when they launched into it, because I think they were sort of ahead in terms of hitting the portal hard. Now everyone's hitting the portal hard.
It's just wild. I mean, it really is. And in the month, as you said, the price tag that comes with it is just kind of hard to wrap your mind around. I was around an SEC football program in the spring, and I got some inside information on how much these players were costing. And and they went line by line. It was just shocking. Really, honestly, it's just like, especially for someone like me that's been close to you for so long, that's been reporting on these guys doing this against the rules for so long, and now that you're allowed to do it, it's almost like you shouldn't be. It's almost like it doesn't feel right in a way.
Yeah, you'll talk to people and they'll kind of go into these tones. I'm like, hey, you're not doing anything wrong, man.
Right.
If you're finding a kid money for an NIL deal, it's perfectly legal as long as you do the paperwork.
I really have never understood why Jimbo Fisher was so furious with Saban, because that's what he was saying.
I don't understand why today Jimbo keeps denying it.
Yeah.
Look, people can go, well, you're just buying a championship if you get one. Okay. The Dodgers do it.
Right.
What difference does it make?
It's within the rules. It's within the laws of the state of Texas. Like, I really don't understand why he took such offense to what Saban said. I think Saban was saying, hey, just so you know, this is the way the world works now, and this is what we're up against. I don't think it was critical.
No, he was literally telling a crowd of Alabama boosters, hey, you're going to have to ante up. This is what they're doing. This is what it costs. If you want to keep winning, this is what it's going to take. And he said they bought every player, and Jimbo gets upset. And I guess because Jimbo was thinking about it from the old school, you bought every player like a shoebox full of money.
Maybe it's the way it sounded, I guess. But I will tell you this. It is fascinating fodder throughout the week. But it's interesting. We've done all this research at ESPN. People do not want that commentary during the game. They want you to call the game, and I love that. That hasn't changed. The way you call a game in 2022 is the way you've always called a game, and that's certainly what we will do on Saturday. And because when the game does start, it's not about, well, this is how Jackson Dart got from USC to Ole Miss. It's about, can Jackson Dart hit trig? Can Jackson Dart be the quarterback of the Rebels moving forward? And that's refreshing that part of the game hasn't been compromised.
I think you're right, but let me ask it this way, because I've had this question to me a little bit. If you're calling a USC game, for example, Southern Cal, and Caleb Williams is bad, looks unfocused, looks unprepared, it's the fact that he's making millions in NIL, does that come into play the way that it would if you're doing a pro game, right? Let's say you're covering a Panthers game, and the Panthers are playing the Chiefs, and for whatever reason, Patrick Mahomes just looks lost. At some point, sometimes you mention, hey, Patrick Mahomes is a $20 million player, and he's not playing, like whatever the case may be. You see that in baseball a lot, like with Jason Hayward with the Cubs. When he was so bad, the contract was a part of that narrative. It would be one thing if Jason Hayward made $1.5 million a year, but he's making 18, and you're paying him for something you're not getting. I wonder whether that starts to creep into college coverage.
And maybe it does. To each his own. I would just say this would be my philosophy on that. I believe it's my job to call the game and prepare you for what's happening, add some extra nuggets, if you will, to what you're watching. I think if the analyst wants to bring something like that up in their commentary of why they're performing the way they're performing, if it's not just based on what's actually happening in the game, if they think that their ability to play is compromised because of something that's happening off the field, then I think it certainly would be fair game for them to discuss that moving forward. But I would tend to lean on the guy that played the game to do that, because they've been there, they've lived it. I would tend to lean on them a bit instead of me. I think it's my job to simply say, he missed his target. That is 8 consecutive incompletions. That's now his 3rd interception of the game. I think then if I say that, and you as the analyst, you're the analyst, Neal, you played the game, you've been in the trenches, you may know what it feels like, you've been around the program, then you may say, you know what, you have to wonder if he's distracted now, if there's a reason why he's performing the way he's performing. But that would be the way I think that it would unfold, at least in the broadcast that I'm part of. But I think you bring up a fair question. I think the world is changing rapidly.
Yeah, I don't anticipate changing the way that I cover it. I'm not going to do that to kids, but I won't be surprised if people do it. And in the past, if someone had called out a kid, I would have been like, man, come on, that's wrong. And now, now it's like, okay, well, it's like Lane Kiffin goes, this is a pro sport. These are pro players. Pro players get criticized. The criticism of Jason Hayward's contract was fair. So, all right, last couple things. I do a thought exercise sometimes. It gets me in trouble. If I told you that, hey, Alabama's not winning the SEC West, it's the only fact that I give you. You can take it to the bank. because I think you and I both think Alabama is winning the SEC West. But if I told you they weren't, take me through your thought exercise real quick on how you would sort of try to determine who does.
Texas A&M would probably be the team that I would pick if somebody else were to win it. I have a lot of questions about the other teams in the division this year. So that's part of the reason why it's hard for me to answer this, is because I think Alabama is significantly superior than the rest of the division. I do think that A&M, though, obviously they won the game last year. It's in Tuscaloosa this year. I definitely think that game has been marked for quite some time, but I still think they're the second best team in the division. So that would be the place that I would go if I were to pick another team. I think that if Alabama's not going to win the West this year, as much as you hate to say this, Neal, I think that would have to include some significant injuries. And, they had them at the end of last year. And what's happening now with John Mechie, he's a pro player, is just awful. I mean, thinking about him as he's battling leukemia now. But if a Will Anderson or a Bryce Young or somebody missed a significant amount of time, then I could see somebody else winning the West. But short of that, I think this is one of Saban's best ever teams, maybe the best.
It's what everybody says. All right, last thing, I'd get in trouble with Chase if I don't ask you about this. And I know the sports you spend the lion's share of your time covering is golf. The whole LIV, the live, however you do that, it's becoming a pretty huge story. They're taking players away from the tour. They're signing people. When you look at this from a big golf perspective, what's happening?
Well, it's just remarkable that I am, the two sports that I work in are football and golf, and both of them are just in total chaos, it seems, with all this discussion about where teams are going and the landscape and payment of players, et cetera. And then you go over to the golf space and you have live free agency in professional golf. I mean, that's just not something that any of us were ever prepared to cover. I have the hardest time, Neal, criticizing players that are taking exorbitant amounts of money to feed their families and support their families for generations to come. In fact, one of my closest friends here in Charlotte is Harold Varner III, and he did that this week. And he is a very close friend. And if I were presented with the same situation that he was, chances are I probably would have made the same choice. But from my lens, as somebody that really cares about the game of golf and wants more people to care about the game, I don't know how this grows. I don't know how this makes that happen. When all of a sudden you have some of the best players playing in one place and the rest of the best players playing in another place, that never helps any sport get better. In fact, it does the opposite. I mean, we could go to boxing, we could go to IndyCar racing, you could go back to basketball or football 40 and 50 years ago, and short of a merger, those sports struggled because of that. I think that the next couple of years are going to be challenging for professional golf because, again, when you have some of the best players, 12 of the last 24 major champions are now playing for the Live Golf League. When something like that happens, the sport is going to suffer a bit because of it. And I think it's going to be a few years before that changes. Make no mistake, the Saudis are buying golf so that they can do more business with the Western world. And if that ultimately happens, then I could see them saying, okay, that's enough. We bought golf for a little while and we don't really need it anymore because we made enough money off of it. I could see that happening. But until that happens, if that happens, we're going to have two leagues in professional golf. I do think that the public only cares about one of those leagues, the PGA Tour, but you keep taking players away from it, it's only going to make the PGA Tour have to change its ways even more. And that's been a tough exercise for them this year.
Yeah, I think you're right about the public cares about one and the other's just kind of like the circus that comes to town a little bit. Yeah. You're curious, but you're not necessarily going to, invest in it that much. But I don't know, at some point, if you take enough of the good young players, people who really love golf are going to watch the best golf.
Yeah, well, I mean, and maybe this is a crazy example, but I actually used this the other day. Wesley Walls is one of my best friends in the world, and he'll be with me in Oxford this week. And he's a Charlotte guy. I just love him. He's just a dear friend. But I was trying to explain this to him and his wife. I was saying, what if Ole Miss was bought by some other entity and they were paid $500 million to go play football and play all their sports somewhere else? and they were playing 11 or 12 opponents, and it was like an exhibition type environment. And you're not playing Alabama, LSU, and State and anybody else. You're playing all these other teams. You would say, gosh, I would have done the same thing. The money is crazy good. This changes everything we can do with the entire university and all the money that we can use, to build new facilities and et cetera. But there'd be no juice in the actual competition. And you'd say, I don't want to watch this. This doesn't feel like it matters. And that's what's happening right now with Live Golf.
That's a fascinating analogy. I've never thought about it that way, but I think you're right. And I'm like you. I can't criticize the players when someone offers you generational wealth in your 20s or early 30s. I mean, how do you say no to that? I mean,
you probably don't.
You got to take it. But yeah, at the same time, you're like, yeah, but this is not what I grew up wanting to do. And so I wonder if there's at some point down the road a little kind of buyer's remorse. Like,
I think that's there's a very good possibility that'll happen.
Hey, I've kept you way too long. Enjoy your trip to Oxford. Hopefully I get a chance to see you at some point over the course of the weekend. If you have a free minute, you've got my number. Holler at me, and maybe I'll run up and say hello. So, but if nothing else, I'm sure I'll see you at Vaught-Hemingway on Saturday. So safe travels, and thanks for spending some time with us.
I think the world of you, my friend. Anytime, you can count on it this weekend. I'll see you then.
That's mutual, my man. Talk to you soon.
All right.
That was my longtime friend, Taylor Zarzer. My very first radio gig was because of Taylor. So kind of him to spend some time with us. We were, during that 45 minutes or so, we were reading about Lane Kiffin's comments at, I keep thinking today's Friday, by the way. Today's Thursday. I guess he had Reb Talk with David Kellum. He is saying both quarterbacks are going to play.
That is his guess as of right now. He's not ruling that out. I'll find the exact quote.
I have a source close to the program who said the quarterbacks don't know who's starting, the coaching staff doesn't know who is starting, and the players don't know who is starting. It's a source that I trust.
It's a decent.
Beats me.
I mean, hard to argue with that one, isn't it?
Well, when Lane Kiffin says they're both going to play and a source says no one knows who's going to start, it doesn't really matter who starts if they're both playing. He might not have made a decision. It's possible that they both are playing extremely well, and it's possible that that's a sign that neither one has just put his hands around the job.
Both have done a really good job. I really feel confident with both of them. They've done different things, different ways, and I guess the best way I can explain it is we anticipate both of them playing.
I mean, okay. I remember saying this in the summer.
It is what it is. If it happens that way, it does. The whole thing is to find the best quarterback for the season, and you'd like that as soon as you can. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you pick the wrong one. We're not always right. People pick the wrong ones in the NFL off preseason games. We'll see. Okay.
I mean, before the season, we talked about they might go 4 weeks. If they're not 4-0 on October the 1st, things have gone terribly, terribly wrong. They've got another month to figure it out. And so maybe they're going to play them both for a couple weeks. The odds are they're not losing to Troy or Central Arkansas. They've got some time.
How do you split the series?
Oh.
Because we haven't had this legitimately from this type of thing since Masoli Stanley.
And that was orchestrated. And cost them a huge game. Cost them the Jacksonville State game.
Okay. They weren't going bowling anyway.
No,
sure.
They weren't. It was a disaster. You go with one. If he has a hot hand, you keep him in. And if he doesn't, you go to the other one. And then you develop this system where everybody's looking at the damn bench.
Because Nutt was like swapping them out.
I'm on the record. I can't stand two quarterbacks. I don't like it. I've never liked it.
Because we had like Bo and Bernetti, but that was different. Bo was the quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, Barry came in because Bo was hurt.
And he was change of pace.
Yeah, whatever.
Stuff.
Yeah, it was cute. Oh, fumble. So we got Missouri up 14-3 over Louisiana Tech. They were driving. They just fumbled inside the 10. And the Big Ten game is a hell of a Big Ten football game. It's 10-7. It is. You laugh, damn you. This is good football, and so you can just shut up. You're wrong. This is Purdue 10, Penn State 7, middle of the second quarter, and
But Purdue doesn't play Big Ten football. They throw it
they're
around.
playing Big Ten right now. Look at that crowd. All the people. It's 3rd down and 8. Penn State's going to have to throw it. They don't like to throw it.
They don't
really know what they're doing. They're not very good.
They're not great.
No.
Ugh.
I think that was offsides. I think they're going to get a little break there.
Was that tipped or was that throw just that bad?
I'm going to say for the quarterback's sake that it got tipped because I'm sure that his mother loves him. And so I'm going to say that. But they're not good. I mean, I've been saying this. People are making this Auburn-Penn State game, this litmus test game for Auburn. What if Penn State sucks? How do we know that's a litmus test?
It is still just casual viewing hard to pull for Penn State for multitudes of reasons.
Well, including the fact that they supported a child molester for the better part of 2 decades.
That's my point, though, is that Edmund is not there any longer, but they still have the stench. Like,
still there.
Well, and James Franklin is their coach.
James Franklin.
Like, I need to wash my arm right now.
Yeah, James Franklin looks at Jerry Sandusky and says, "Hold my beer."
I mean, God, that institution just poisoned from it.
Russell, thanks for the super chat. I don't know what "thanks for being in my dream" means. I don't know that. I didn't to know.
Yeah, I can fill you in later.
Okay.
I'll see who'd like to do it in the thread. Yeah, I talked to Russell about that last night.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, what's happening in the West Virginia game? Apparently, that was a hell of a contest. We need more TVs in here. My wife disagrees completely, but
She doesn't come in this room. It's fine.
that's true. She doesn't ever come in here. I could put another TV in here. She wouldn't care. Where would I put it? There?
Well, I mean, the only place that we both could see it would be there.
I could put it there. That's small, though.
You'd have to almost like hang it off the side of the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
The brace would have to be at the end and just make sure the TV doesn't hurt the
and swing out.
Yeah.
That's not a terrible thought. You get a little bit of a headache if you did that. You'd make that TV 3 for sure.
Oh, well, yeah.
17-10 West Virginia.
Oh.
Solid game. Thought that would be a solid game.
You like Neal Brown.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's a good coach. I mean, I don't know why people are soured on him. He's supposedly on the hot seat, and I don't understand why.
Is Franklin hot seat, James?
I think his seat is potentially hot.
It's at least not
They've got
happy and cool and
they've got the burner on.
Yeah.
But it's really low.
Yeah.
Like you know when you want to boil water, but you don't want to boil it yet.
So you just start getting it a little.
You just kind of get it warm so that when you turn it all the way up, it can get hot fast.
Uh-huh.
I think that's where they are.
That's fair. West Virginia has not been a factor in a while, but I mean they're a decent team to watch. It's not a bad program to watch.
No, it's not. He's a good coach. Pitt's a good program. These are 2 good teams. I mean, they're not great teams, but they're good teams. I've never been. That's Heinz Field, right? That's where they play, where the Steelers play.
Do they?
I think that's right. It's not Heinz anymore, but it used to be Heinz. Yeah. Kenton wants to know what the room looks like. I don't even know that I know how to do that. Let me see.
What?
I think I can do that. Show what the room looks like.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. Got to give me a minute. I make no promises here.
Do you have a scene for that?
No, but it's adding my phone, which is not appearing to show up at this point, so I'm not sure I can do it. Wait, well, I might be able to do it with this. Let's see.
Well, that's a good point, Brian. No matter what Penn State is or isn't, Purdue beating you at the line of scrimmage is a negative for you.
So, no, it's not going to work. Let's see. Maybe it will.
Oh,
so
I forgot you had the Logitech. Yeah.
This is the one TV there. We got another TV over there. There's Chase. So you can see the TV that he's looking at. There's Murray the Moose. I don't know if you can see Murray there. There's Murray. And then where Chase was talking about, we have to put it right up there and sling it out where he could see it
Which should be doable.
over there.
But
It's doable. It would look kind of weird, but it's doable. You have to get somebody who knew what he was doing.
yeah.
So, and then I'm here, and then there's my screen that I look at the whole time. It's got all the stuff on it. It's pretty big computer screen.
Yeah, what size is that monitor?
It's a monster. I'm not sure. So that's what that is. Take that off. There we go. So we get another week or two at least of the whole quarterback thing.
I mean, now I'm even more fascinated just on how you split it, if that's the case. Now, he can still not do that. I mean, he's not bound by what he says at Rep Talk on Thursday night.
No, he's not bound by it. But again, I'm going to
go. It does show you he's not just not telling anybody.
So does it mean that they're both playing well, or that neither one's playing well? What does it mean? Does it mean they're
both have
inconsistent?
their own? I mean, he said this. He said they go about it different ways. They both have their positives and their negatives, and he can't figure out which one he'd rather have. I don't think he trusts Dart yet to protect the football.
That's true. And then I know that they do not feel they are frustrated with Altmaier for not being willing to push the ball down the field between the hash marks.
Yeah.
To the point that someone close to the program told me that they question whether he's an SEC quarterback. But he'll dump it off and he won't make mistakes.
Correct.
And so the question then becomes, are you good enough on defense to win that way? Is your running game good enough like that to win that way? I'll go further. I'm going to tell you what someone told me. People say, give me what you're told at the risk of getting yelled at. Someone close to the program said that they would go with Altmaier except for the fact that it's not Kiffin's style. Kiffin likes the idea of big plays, throwing the play sheet into the air, the video of that, the marketing of that, the recruiting with that, and that Altmaier's not that. That Dart is that, but that Dart also throws into traffic, and that Dart locks in on one target. And there's a concern that if good defensive coordinators realize that's what he's doing, they can trick him into picks. The other teams have defensive coordinators who get paid a lot of money too, that watch a lot of film. The whole preparing for a football game is two sides, right? I don't mean that to be demeaning or to talk bad about fans, but I think sometimes fans, whether it's black and gold glasses or red and blue glasses or red and white glasses, I think there's a tendency to just think about it from their perspective. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, of course.
And so you forget that the other team is watching film and going, you know what? He locks in on his quarterback. He locks in on his target. What we could do is just roll the coverage after the snap. He'll throw right into a pick. So if you don't know, these are both smart TVs, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have DirecTV. One's hooked to DirecTV. One's a smart TV.
It's the deal where with Altmaier, it's been indecision. It's been hesitancy. We've seen it. Tower talked about it in the scrimmage he saw. It's been what we've heard from people. Dart has given Kiffin at least that option to do that.
Yes.
I think he at least wants the option.
Yes.
If he goes with Dart, that is why. Again, I don't know who's starting, but
we don't have as many of you as we usually do. I'm going to open up the phones. I have no idea whether anybody wants to call or not. If you do, great.
yeah, what's going on tonight? Everybody's gone.
People out.
We get football season here, and everybody's out.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd deal, but that's okay. I mean, it hurts Chase's feelings, but, you know. There's the number, 662-259-8563, 662-259-8563. I've opened it up. If you want to call, we'll take your call.
If you get a Vanderbilt helmet, we need to get the one with the Nashville skyline on it. Because, of course, they are Nashville's team.
You're
so,
damn right.
I mean, that's the one to get is the skyline.
Looks like Missouri scored again against Louisiana Tech.
That's starting to get a little bad over there.
Threatening to cover the line there. It's 20-3.
I still don't think it tells us anything about Missouri.
If Vanderbilt wins a football game in the SEC against Missouri or South Carolina or wherever, I will get a Vanderbilt helmet and wear it throughout the show.
throughout the show.
Yep.
We know anybody at Vanderbilt that give us a helmet?
I know Barton.
Yeah.
I bet Barton would give me a helmet.
I have wondered that case study. If we literally just cold emailed 130 teams, how many would actually send us a helmet? If we said, hey, we got an SEC podcast. We're just looking for as many helmets as we can get or
10.
football. You think 10 would actually send their helmets?
I do. I think 10 would send us a helmet.
Might even be more than that because the smaller schools probably be like, Rowan, really?
We should do that.
Hold on. Like Buffalo. Yeah, we'll send you a helmet.
I'd love it. Hey, turn your device down.
Bingo card. First time you've had to say that?
Yeah, there you go. First time. Hey, what do we have?
Hi, my name is Ralph, and I'm most excited about the new boys that are coming onto the team this year and what you think about them. And also, which boys are returning and you're most impressed with. So talk to me about the boys, and I can't wait to hang up and listen. Thank you.
Okay. You going to hang up, Ralph? No.
Tell us about the boys, Neal. Which ones are you most excited about?
I don't know that I'm excited in the same way that Ralph is excited. Hey, who do we have?
This is Rodney.
Hey, Rodney, what's up?
I'm pretty good. How y'all making it tonight?
Oh, we're good.
Could we have a bigger 180 there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rodney. What's up?
I'm just wondering. I got to looking around. I know this is a different team, Troy, but I got to looking back on some of their games. They went into Death Valley and Nebraska, won some games. I don't think this team will be intimidated. I'm starting to get a little nervous. What do y'all think about this?
Oh, they won't be intimidated. No, they won't be intimidated. I mean, Troy's got a real solid Sun Belt program.
They don't suck.
No, I think if people are expecting 56-0, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. There's a reason the line is 21.5. No, they're a good team. John's a good coach. They've got some returning players. They're very confident about their defense. I think they're a little shaky about their offense. I think John's going to do nice things at Troy. I think Ole Miss is going to win the game. I think the line is about right. If you told me that Troy covered, I wouldn't be all that surprised. But if you told me that, and I think we all kind of pick Ole Miss by about 24 points or so. But look, I mean, we don't really know. I don't think Lane Kiffin really knows exactly what to expect on Saturday. They've talked about this consistently.
We got a lot of talent, but I don't know about the chemistry.
Yeah, no, I think chemistry has been a concern. He's talked about it since July.
You got to have that. I don't care how talented you are. I just hope the running backs are as good as they say. I loved our running backs last year. I love Snoop and Ely and all them last year, but they're saying this running backs are a lot better.
Think this room has a chance to be better, and that's the thing. He mentioned today that the playbook skinned thin down a little bit. I mean, I guess point being that's not a huge deal in and of itself, but I mean, we don't know if he's going to come out and just run the football over and over and over and over again. I mean, Ole Miss could kind of bog this game down a little bit offensively on Saturday.
Right.
Sure.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with both of y'all.
All right.
Okay. I heard y'all talking about something the other day that's close to my heart. Mayonnaise. Y'all don't like mayonnaise?
I would, if I could never see mayonnaise for the rest of my life, Rodney, I would be very happy. The thought of eating mayonnaise makes me disgusted. I would starve to death before I ate mayonnaise.
Y'all know what pinto beans are, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I don't care. I can pinto beans, but I like the Great Northern White beans. Heard of them, haven't you?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
You take that and put them over some, crumble it up, and chop up a little onion, and put a couple of dollars of mayonnaise in that. It's the best food in the world.
Hold on. So white bean, onions, garlic.
Over cornbread. Beans that have been cooked in a crock pot with a neck bone.
Like stewed beans. Okay.
And you're talking that's some of the world.
I'd have to disagree with that, Rodney. I mean, listen,
you just gotta try it one time.
I support your right to. I mean, I'm all for free speech and free expression, but no.
Neal, I'm telling you, you're a country boy, Mississippi. Love it.
Yeah, I'm from North Louisiana, which is absolutely country. There's no question about that. No. Oh, Louisiana Tech's got a chance. Go. 30, 20, 10, touchdown. There you go.
I don't know if y'all seen it or not, but John Rice has been going off tonight.
Yeah, who's he playing?
South Carolina State.
South Carolina State.
Yeah, but it's still the first.
He's gonna do. He seriously is. That offense is built for him pretty well. He's gonna.
Oh, that is not good.
That's a knee.
Oh, that's a cheap shot.
Yeah, I put my head down because I didn't.
But Columbia, it's amazing. I mean, I always enjoyed him up there at Ole Miss, but I knew Corral was the better one.
Yeah, look, I said this earlier in the first part. My wife wants me to tell them about. All right, I should make her call in and tell. So my wife used to make this dish that I loved. It was called sour cream chicken, Rodney. And I loved it. Every time she made it, I was like, this is awesome. And I always noticed that when she made sour cream chicken, I was never in the kitchen. And we hang out in the kitchen together. If I cook, sometimes she'll hang out in there and talk to me and vice versa. And for some reason, she got a guilt trip about it. But it turned out that it wasn't sour cream chicken.
Mayonnaise.
It was mayonnaise chicken.
And you liked it?
I did until I found out it was mayonnaise chicken, and now I don't like it.
So what was it?
It was like breadcrumbs and cheese, and it had
So it was
mayonnaise.
a casserole, but she used mayonnaise.
Yeah, and you bake it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean,
I know a lot of people that put mayonnaise on their fish to keep it.
yeah, to keep it crisp or whatnot.
now when I say mayonnaise, I'm not talking about Miracle. I'm talking about mayo.
Yeah,
Like-
Deal.
I took
Like
it as
Duke's.
I found it to be betrayal.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was vicious.
Now she loves you to death. She gave you a good meal.
Yeah, it was good. I did like it, but I don't now. And the last time she made it, I insisted on watching and making sure it was actually sour cream.
I say you drink. What are you drinking on there tonight, Neal? I see you having a glass.
It's an IPA. It's Voodoo Ranger IPA, which I think is New Belgium. Is the brewing company?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric says.
I'm gonna hold off for Saturday. I'm gonna drink me a little Saturday.
What are you gonna have Saturday, Rodney?
I'm just gonna have some Michelob Ultra.
Okay.
Out of a can.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Neal looks disappointed.
Rodney, I have a bone to pick with you.
Why?
If you're gonna drink beer. Don't drink water that's just got some yellow food coloring in it.
Good beer. That's a high class beer, you know.
Oh, Rodney, it's not. Rodney, it's not even real beer. It's Michelob Ultra, for God's sake. For 2 more calories, you can at least have a Miller Lite.
Well, I can drink.
Rodney, I'm just disappointed. That's all. I mean, you and
Well,
I.
I mean, I'm gonna drink and then I'm gonna switch up
Okay.
Brown and Coke
Okay.
and
Well,
a little Chivas Regal.
Start with the Crown and Coke.
Yeah.
That way, when you get to the Michelob Ultra, it won't matter anyway.
It won't matter. Exactly. I mean,
Start with the more potent thing, and then work your way back down. That's the tip.
Yeah.
Well, Tennessee's looking good, ain't they?
what's the score there?
It was 24-30. No, it's 31 last night.
They got to keep going.
Chase wants them to cover.
I do want.
On that. 30.
Hey, Rodney, you're breaking up on us. Thanks for the call. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too. Let's see, I need to put the phone back up. There it is, 662-259-8563.
That's pretty funny.
Can't read it, Leif, but that's really funny. It's true. That's good. I see where Central Arkansas is playing. They'll be in Oxford next Saturday. Who do we have?
Hey, it's Mark in Columbus.
Hey, Mark. What's up, man?
Watching the Vols.
How are they doing?
45-7, but, I hate the fan base more than I love the football program, so I'm hoping for 6-6. I can't stand these people.
What is
They're the most
they
they're
are
the most
they're
delusional
vicious
people in the country.
They're mean people, man. I mean, like they're crazy on that website. They're nuts.
My friend puts out, I can't read him on the air, but he puts out his annual list of all-time Vol Twitter losses. And the first one is, and this is just an example, because you all laugh. The average margin of defeat is north of 26 points versus Bama the last 15 years, yet you rage tweet the SEC over a holding call in the first quarter. Get a life. They're all like that. Some of them I can't say on the air because they're a little crude, but it's pretty hilarious.
What will take you
No, they're just
back
delusional.
in with them in general? What's it going to take to get you completely back in the boat?
I don't have any expectations anymore. I'm done with that. Just I'm going to watch the games. I'm going to enjoy them for what it is. I'll go to a game, maybe two for the year. But I'm done following it religiously and living and dying on every snap. I'm just done with it because look, I'm not going to get to a big dissertation on what happened to the Tennessee football program, but the program died in the SEC championship game in 2001, which coincidentally was the same date as the beginning of the reign of terror that is Nick Saban. Fulmer choked the second half away. They were going to go play Miami in the Rose Bowl. They weren't going to beat Miami, but they'd have played them a hell of a lot better than Nebraska did. And he gagged the second half away, and the program's never been the same since. And it's been bad hire after bad hire in both the AD chair and the football coach. And I'm just kind of done. Heupel seems like a good guy, decent coach, but I think the SEC is going to catch up to this offense. And,
real quick update, just because I'm interested and I like soccer. Ole Miss beats Louisiana Tech tonight in soccer 5-0. Matt Mott will join us on the Oxford Exxon podcast next week. So
5 straight shutouts for the Rebels to start the season.
They're playing really, really well. Sorry, Mark. I know that.
But that'll get me back in. I guess. I'm just kind of done with the expectations of it all.
Ryan Wiggins wants to know what would it take for you to go full Ole Miss?
I'm halfway Ole Miss when they hired Kiffin.
Yeah.
Because I told y'all when they all hired him, I wanted him back in Tennessee in 2017 when they hired Pruitt.
I'm going to tell everybody making fun of my damn Big Ten game. This Big Ten game's entertaining. Even Chase is staring at it like longingly, and he wants to go, the Big Ten sucks. This is good football. So,
is it good football or is it close football?
See, dude,
is it like the NCAA tournament?
Mark, do you see the crap that I deal with right
here?
The
first round games in March Madness. Oh, that was awesome. It was 52-50, and they shot 28% from the field.
This is brutal.
It's close football.
I shouldn't have to deal with this. This is harassment.
I'm going to a Big Ten football game. I'm going to the Notre Dame and Ohio State game Saturday night.
That sounds fun, actually.
I think Ohio State's going to win and cover.
As a Big Ten team.
Yes, they are.
Russell says this is garbage. It's not garbage. This is good football. 14-10, Penn State, 50 seconds to go in the first half. Russell says he's faster than some of their players. Well, you're faster than some of the linemen, but come on.
Is Ohio State going to cover that?
Yes.
Yeah. And look, I know everybody's talking because Marcus Freeman played here at Ohio State, and I know everybody's, high on him, but man, I watched that Fiesta Bowl last year, and there were some serious deer eyes in the headlights, and his clock management was pathetic in that game. And I get it; he's a star and all that. And
Stroud is really good. I think Ohio State's offense is going to light some people up.
Yeah, they'll score every time they get it. A lot of their games this year until they play Bama, but. The media here, they're the biggest collection of fanboys in the country of any school, anywhere, period, end of sentence. And their fan base and media are the most sensitive people on the planet. You mentioned that they're not the greatest football program in the history of the universe, and they take offense. But it's hard to argue considering, see, that's what I don't know about Ryan Day. The last 5 coaches at Ohio State are or will be in the College Football Hall of Fame. So, is it just impossible to lose there?
I think in that league, it's the way it's shaped. It's impossible to lose there. It's impossible to be bad there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how good Ryan Day is.
10-3 is the floor.
But they always recruit.
Really?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think I said 10-3 is the floor at Ohio State. Who's beating them?
I mean, last year was bad. Last year was bad, and they went 11-2.
That's what I mean.
And people were mad.
Who's beating them on a consistent basis?
Since 2005, they've won at least 10 games, all but one season.
And that year was the year Tressel was fired in the offseason, and Fickle took over for a year.
Yes, 6-7.
And that was a mess.
Tressel had won 8-4, and his first year he went 7-5.
Yeah, I just don't.
Take out Fickle's year, and Ohio State has not had a losing season since 1988.
You can't fumble right there. You just can't fumble right there. You have to protect the football.
And here's a stat that I always like to bring up about Big Ten football. Outside of Ohio State, the Big Ten has not won a national championship other than a split title in 1997 since integration.
Oh, is that right?
There's yeah.
Who was the split title in 97?
Nebraska,
that was Nebraska.
Michigan. Nebraska and Michigan.
Oh.
Other than that, and look, we all saw the Georgia-Michigan game last year, and they played that game 100 times. Georgia wins 100 of them.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's only one school that. No, we'll see what happens when USC gets in there, but because I think USC and remember when USC was humming, they were kicking the dog shit out of the Auburns and Ohio States of the world on the regular.
Yeah, that was a little while ago.
When they're humming.
Yeah, that was the Pete Carroll. That was the Pete Carroll deal. West Virginia 17-16 over Pitt. This is a fun game. 5:54 to go in the third.
17-10, you said?
17-16.
Oh God, they miss an extra point, or are they kicking it?
I'm not sure. I just flipped, so I'm just not positive.
Oh, okay. All right, y'all.
All right, Mark.
Season. I'll be sure to call in later.
Please do.
Rebels.
Bye.
Missouri is running halfback passes.
It's cute.
Hey, it's only 21-10. Get a stop here. Stuff going.
Yeah.
Oh, they're tying it now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know because I just flipped.
Yeah.
So 17-17, 5:54 to go in the third in the backyard brawl. And apparently they've had a couple of fights.
Really?
It's been brawly. Yeah.
They've been brawling?
Yeah.
For some reason, I was looking up that 1997 season. Michigan had a lot of close games. They ended up going 12-0 or 13-0 or whatever, but they had a lot of close games.
I can't sit here and tell you that I remember anything about 1997.
They beat Washington State in the Rose Bowl. Would that have been Mike Price?
Would that have been Ryan Leaf?
Yeah, it would have.
Okay.
Was Price his coach?
Yes.
Okay. They beat them 21-16 in the Rose Bowl. Beat Ohio State 20-14. Beat Iowa 28-24. Had some close ones.
Huh.
Nebraska beat the hell out of Texas A&M in the Big 12 title game. 54-15.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't remember. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark, what's up?
Hey, so got a question. Love you guys. Watch y'all every single day. I feel out of place on Fridays when I can't watch you. Give me just 1 second to set this question up, and then I'll hang up and let you guys answer.
Okay.
So I've been an Ole Miss fan for 40-plus years. I have always loved watching the freshmen coming in, sometimes highly recruited, sometimes not, but watching them kind of either expand or sometimes not work out the way you planned. And so I have frankly a good bit of remorse about what the NIL and the transfer portal is doing to college football, because I think we're going to see players 1 and 2 years and be done. And so I get discouraged, and then I think, well, Kentucky's basketball fan base has done that for years and years, certainly the last 10 or 15 years, and they've been able to maintain their fan base. So you guys give me your best guess as to whether or not I'm overreacting and the fan base is still going to hang on, or perhaps I am correct that this may put a damper on some of us who are longtime fans who like watching the players mature into being what we had hoped they were when they first got there. I'll hang up now and let you guys answer. Thank you very much for all you do.
Okay, thanks.
It's a tributary of what we're talking about this morning with the way people expect or have always known their fandom to be. I mean, you've already seen that in college basketball over the last 25 years. You no longer have the Grant Hills of the world that you watch for 3-4 years, no matter what they are and whatever. I mean, college basketball at the top level has become a one and done, a two and done, a transfer portal kind of sport. I don't think that's going to kill it. I don't think it's one of the things that's going to completely disrupt the sport. But I do think, look, change is uncomfortable. And I think there is, even if it works out, nobody ends up carrying in 10 years or 5 years or whatever, there is a certain amount of change that would have to go here, that is going here right now, that does alter some fandom. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that's the biggest thing in general, is college football is in flux right now from a what does fandom look like, what does fandom mean, and how do fans react to these changes? I mean, that's really kind of the thesis of what we're actually talking about right now, because at the end of the day, fans, whether it be watching the games, going to the games, whatever, they're the drivers for everything we're talking about here, and how do they react to the decisions that are being made. I mean, there is a quid pro quo nature to this thing, and we'll see where it shakes out. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's an irrelevant question at all. I don't know that it's the top of my list on things that are going to alter things, but no, people like homegrown talent that you bring in and hang on to. The portal's going to change that.
Yeah, the portal is going to change that for sure. I think you and I have different opinions on this, and sometimes I think you're probably right. But because that's just what fans do. I just think you adapt to the changing landscape, and you get used to it, and you maybe long for the old days, but you get used to the new stuff, and you just sort of move on. But I could be wrong. You could be extremely right. Hey, who do we have?
This is Nick from Wheeler.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
Oh, nothing much. I was just kind of want to piggyback off what Chase was just saying about, the recruiting and watching kind of players grow. I've already got to a point with high school recruiting where, like, if I'll see a story about a 5-star recruit that's visited Ole Miss, and I'll see that he's a 5-star, and I kind of whatever, and just kind of move on. It's like not even really worth looking into, because Ole Miss isn't really at the point to where they can, pay for a 5-star recruit right now. It doesn't seem like, anyway.
It's a 180 from 10 years ago, when you would have thought that was the kid who takes the visit. You go, oh, you got him on campus. That's one of the ones we can go snag. I mean, again, that's not saying this will never get a 5-star. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think there is a perception that it is no longer the excitement generator that it would have been close to a decade ago, or even during Friese's kind of end of his tenure, where it was, hey, this is huge news. It's one of the guys. Hey, look, blow out the coverage. Now it's, hey, what does he want, and is it that doable? You have to ask those extra 3 or 4 questions before you ever even get a sense of what's going on.
Right. I mean, there's no, like, the thought of getting like a Robert Kennedy, like whenever he was coming through, I was a teenager, and it was just so exciting because, we were in it for that guy, the national signing day, or whenever he signed.
Yeah.
It was exciting. Well, now it's like, what am I getting excited for? I kind of look more at the transfer portal now than I do anything else, just kind of with the way we recruit. And but even then, you're trying to dig into these guys at these smaller schools. Like, I think, was it Troy Brown? Was he from Central Michigan or something?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you don't really know what you're getting, so it's like I can't really get excited about the guy yet because I don't know what he's going to give us, coming from a program into the SEC. So the exciting level of recruiting and the transfer portal, it just doesn't work the same way, but they take the excitement away from the season, but it does kind of seem like it takes away from one aspect of the whole deal.
Hey, Nick, your connection's not really great. We're going to let you go, but I think we got the the basics of your call.
Gist.
Thanks. Yeah, gist. I said gist,
All right.
but I meant.
Thank you.
Thanks. I don't know that I'm connected enough to enough fans to really know exactly how people are going to respond to whatever it looks like. Look, Ole Miss and Lane admitted this the other day. He says he doesn't look at it this way, but people are going to watch this, and they're going to watch this transfer portal stuff and see how it works. And
why are we ringing?
I'm not. It's a great question.
Why'd you send me that text?
Because
that was accurate.
It was.
Ethan?
I'm not sure. Hey, who do we have?
Yo, it's Grind.
Hey, Grind, what's up, man?
Nothing much, man. Pissed off at Akron, man. Pissed off at Akron.
What's going on with Akron?
Man, I needed them to the game was going to go under like I predicted, and then it went to – how you go to overtime with St. Francis? That's how you know you garbage, man. You need to go to FCS. The game, luckily, they saved my parlay. Akron ended up getting a pick in the end zone, so it tied at 53. I had the under, and that under was going to hit, man, like a baby.
So you're okay. You survived it.
Yeah, I survived that. When I got the over like I told y'all, I got over for the Oklahoma State and Central Michigan, and that thing went over third quarter, so I'm chilling on that one.
What's the score in that?
Waiting for Tennessee. Last time I checked, it was 55-21. Cowboys.
Okay, so I'm gonna get one on Troy on that one. Troy Brown and I are picking the MAC in a competition, and I had Oklahoma State covering, and he had Central Michigan covering because, of course, those are his friends. Yeah. So I knew I was getting a freebie there.
Oh yeah, I understand that too. Yeah, I didn't touch that spread because but I think you did right with and it's showing that you did because like I said last time I checked, they was up by that. So yeah, man,
Pittsburgh
I'm just kicking back, got everything on my devices.
Yeah, Pittsburgh scores. They're about to be up 24-17, pending the extra point.
Okay, baby, let's go. I got the over in that game too. Let's go. I like that. I like that.
The backyard brawl's been a hell of a game. That's been been the game that everybody thought it would be. Been a fun game so far. Missouri up 21-10 and driving there at the Louisiana Tech 13 with 7 seconds left in the quarter. I'm sure Drinkwitz will find a way to screw this up.
Yeah, I got the over in that game, but please, Drinkwitz, don't screw this one up. Come on.
So, what are you excited about the TJ Finley era getting rolling?
Let me tell you this, man. I'm watching this Penn State and Purdue. I don't know. They could just wrap up how they let that Penn State tight end score. But, dude, it's not crazy that Brian Harsin might.
I know.
Like, beat this Penn State team. They young at running back and the receiver. And that linebacker and that spots on the D line.
Pull up the Auburn schedule, Chase. What's the Auburn schedule? I know they got Mercer tomorrow, and they've got San Jose State next week, and then they've got Penn State.
Yep.
So that's 3-0 in my book.
Yep.
Who do they got after Penn State? LSU.
Missouri.
So
Missouri.
4-0.
LSU.
In
Auburn.
Kind of a coin toss.
But you know what though? This is so weird as an Auburn fan because in the past 2 years, Auburn probably has been as bad as we've probably been since 2012 to 2008. But you've beaten LSU 2 times in a row, and you smacked them. The last time LSU came to Auburn, you beat them by the worst margin ever in the series history.
Yeah. So
I remember that day when I called you.
So let's give them that game. Let's go 5-0. Who's after LSU?
Hold on. Georgia.
Okay, 5-1. So 5-1 coming.
Yep.
5-1 coming here.
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're not beating Georgia. That's 5-1 coming.
No,
would be fascinating. Yeah, that with wins over Penn State and LSU, Auburn would be ranked at that point, like 19, 20, somewhere in there.
Arkansas at home after Ole Miss.
Flip a coin.
At State.
Hey, I'm gonna ask y'all this. If y'all get it right, if y'all get this question right, I got a super chat for y'all. Don't look it up either.
Yeah. Sure.
10 seconds. I'm gonna give you guys 10 seconds. When was the last time Arkansas beat Auburn?
2011.
I'm gonna guess it was the Houston Nutt era.
3, 2,
2004,
1.
3, 4. I don't know. Nut. It was Nut was
No,
coach.
no. It wasn't that long ago. Last time Arkansas beat Auburn was triple overtime. Burt Bielema beat Auburn 53-46. They beat Sean White in Fayetteville.
Oh, okay. I guess Petrino.
So yeah,
Petrino beat him once when he was
That's
at,
what I
at
was.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that was the last one.
Petrino kind of owned Auburn. I'm not gonna lie. He beat Auburn in what, 11, 12, and 2009. Yeah, he ruined a lot of like my little my bowling alley Saturdays when I was a kid.
I remember covering an Auburn-Arkansas game at Auburn where Auburn was favored to kick Arkansas's ass, and it just went the complete opposite way, and it was bad.
You're probably talking about that 2006 game with Darren McFadden and Felix Jones.
No, it was before that. I was a beat writer. It was like 2001 or 2002. I can't remember. It was like they had a running back.
Okay.
Some running back for Arkansas ran for like a gazillion yards, and everybody couldn't figure it out.
Man, I got some betting advice for all these Ole Miss fans, man. Bet that under. I know some fans out there that probably think, Ole Miss going to run it up or whatnot, but, man, throw some money on that under for the Ole Miss-Troy game. And also throw some money on Louisville while you're at it.
Yeah.
You want to do a little parlay on something.
I do like the under in Ole Miss-Troy.
It's 58.
It's a lot of points when you consider the fact that neither offense.
Well, it's 57 now.
Yeah, I like the under.
So, man, I'm going to ask y'all this. What would be more surprising to you guys? Let's just say one of these things are true. Florida State beats LSU 31-20. Florida beats Utah 26-17.
Which would be less surprising?
Yeah.
Florida.
Which would be more surprising?
Florida State beating LSU would surprise me more than Florida beating Utah. I
think I agree.
I think this Florida State thing's a disaster. I've already heard that Florida State's like sniffing around on coaches. Like something's
really,
something's up there. Yeah, I've heard specifics.
Look,
Whenever
man,
I hear specifics, my alarm goes up. My radar goes up.
Now, in saying that, I don't expect Florida to beat Utah.
No, I don't either.
Okay. Now look, and I get that. So, is there any? It usually happens on week one. Some, team in the top 25 is playing some, lesser, unknown team, and they get upset. There's not a game on you guys' mind that you have in mind or whatnot.
Where's my sheet? Not really.
I'm pulling up the top 25 games to make sure I don't miss anybody.
I'm looking to see if there's something that sticks out in my mind as this could be the big one.
This could be.
I know. Look, man, I know you're on Ohio State, but I like Notre Dame to cover that 17.
Yeah,
I know that's not. I know that's a high profile game, but I like Notre Dame in that spot.
Yeah, I don't, but you could be right. You're better at this than I am.
I could see UTSA beating Houston if you want to count that.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. I could see Cincinnati. I could see Cincinnati beating Arkansas, but I don't know if that really qualifies.
They're both ranked.
Yeah.
I'm not going there. Honestly, for week one, that's all I got. The next closest thing is Florida State beating LSU. Because look, again,
so which one would surprise you more, Cincinnati or Arkansas or Florida State LSU? Let me see about that one.
Florida State LSU would still surprise me more than Cincinnati Arkansas. I could make I could see a scenario where Cincinnati beats Arkansas. I just don't see a scenario where Florida State beats LSU. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, it'll be fun. I'll enjoy the LSU meltdown. But I don't see it. I don't. I think LSU. I think there's a far better chance that LSU just absolutely beats the pants off Florida State. And we have the overreaction Monday where we go LSU's a contender, and I don't think it means that.
The LSU version of when A&M beat the hell out of South Carolina that day, and everybody thought Kyle Allen was going to be the next Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, and in reality, if you ask me what I really think, I think Arkansas is going to win fairly easily, and I think LSU is going to win fairly easily, and I think Utah is going to win, but I won't be shocked if Florida wins. I'm kind of with Chase with the Richardson stuff where I don't really see it, but maybe this is the year that he puts it all together and he lights Utah on fire Saturday night. I don't know. We'll see. That's why we play the games.
Could be right. All right, man. I'm gonna let y'all go. And just by the way, Chase, I think you're talking about Kenny Trio, not Kyle Allen. And
Oh,
so, man,
you're
I'm
right.
finna,
You're right. Yeah.
Yep. Finna get back to these games, man. You guys keep the good show going.
Thank you. See you.
All right, man.
Hey, who do we have?
Yes, this is Shannon. They theirs.
I'm sorry?
This is Shannon. They theirs. How are you?
Hello, Shannon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. So I want to talk about the quarterback controversy. What's the latest on that? Because I have a whole different take on the thing. But I'd like, first of all, who's supposedly going to start?
Lane Kiffin said tonight that he didn't. Well, he didn't say that he didn't know. We've heard from people that they don't know. Lane Kiffin said both will play. So my best information says that Jackson Dart will start. But if you told me Luke Altmaier starts, I'm not even remotely surprised. They're both going to, according to Kiffin, they're both going to play. Shannon.
Okay, I know they're both hot. And okay. So Jackson's more like California Playboy. And Luke has more of like a flannel, rugged country boy look. And I look at it like, okay, if they're let's be honest, they must both be really good in all kinds of ways.
Right.
But when we're talking about football, why not go with who looks best in the uniform that week?
Well, who do you think? So Ole Miss is going to wear the white helmet, the navy jersey, and the white pant. You tell me, Shannon, which one of those guys would look best?
Well, who do you guys? Okay, who do you guys probably see more than I do? Who looks better in the uniform?
I've never seen either one of them in that particular uniform, so it's difficult for me to say. I mean, I think they're both.
Well,
they're both nice looking young men.
Who do you guys think's hotter?
I don't know that I think of either of them as hot necessarily. They're both nice looking guys. I don't know that I.
Oh God, they're gorgeous. Are they roommates?
I don't believe they are roommates. No, Jackson Dart rooms with Michael Trigg. I don't know who Luke rooms with.
So let me ask you, this year, what's Lane doing? What's the whole strategy?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so this is something that drives me crazy. Why don't they let the best players play?
Well, what makes you think? What makes you think, Shannon, that the best players don't play?
Because if you're good on offense, you're probably good on defense too.
Yeah.
I mean, so I remember when
I don't think at the risk of taking this. In today's college football, it's really hard to play both ways.
Keep the E off the show for tomorrow.
It's kind of hard to play both ways. You have to pick one side of the ball and kind of stay with that.
That's what's wrong with the world. That's the attitude that's killing everything. Play both ways. Play one way. I don't care. All I'm saying is if you're a good athlete, if you're good with the ball, you're going to be good with the other ball. If you're on that side of if you're playing offense, is that one of them? And then defense. So if you're quarterback on offense and on defense, you're running back. Aren't you? I mean, and you're an athlete. You're good at both. Let them play. Let that guy play both positions.
That's a lot of snaps. You would wear down pretty quickly.
And
third, fourth quarter.
They pay these coaches so much, and I look at these coaches and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like, do you want to lose?
Are you? Yeah. Are you excited about the games this weekend, Shannon?
Yeah. Who's playing?
a lot of teams are playing. Who's your?
So who's?
Go ahead.
Well, so I love Memphis. So go Tigers.
Right.
But I mean, I'll watch Ole Miss if they're Are they playing this weekend?
Yes.
Ole Miss playing?
Ole Miss is playing Troy this week.
Who are they playing? Oh, Troy.
Troy.
Who is? No, where is Troy?
That's in Alabama. Troy.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you meant like the Army Troy. It was like, what? Did they start a school? So anyway, that's all I want to say was I wanted to say who's hotter. One is more country buff and the other's just playboy all the way. Sort of like Lane. I think Lane's a playboy. And they're both California boys.
Well, actually, Jackson Dart's a Utah boy, just so you know. He did go to school for a semester.
I told you he was a mountain boy, rugged. Rugged.
Right. They're both rugged.
Yeah. Oh, I could see him, pair of tight jeans, snug flannel shirt fitted, and just some, in some snow with maybe the sleeves cut off the flannel, but just, some snow, just standing in snow with some boots with his jeans tucked in, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh! So,
All right.
So I sure enjoyed the show. This is my first time caller.
Thanks, Shannon.
So
We're glad you called.
well, I am so excited. There will be more of me. I loved it. I love doing this. It's so much fun. I wish I could do this. You guys should pay me to do this.
Well, maybe we can work out an NIL deal with you, Shannon, and see what happens.
What is that? Nil. That's nil zero. What do you mean NIL?
It's name,
I want to
image, and
get
likeness.
paid.
Yes, name, image, likeness. Yeah, we'll have our people call your people.
Because I was gonna say this thing ain't free.
No.
So okay. Well, good. Can't wait to call in again. Okay.
Okay. See you later, Shannon. Thanks. Okay. Bye bye.
Okay.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Bart from Hazelhurst.
Hey, Bart.
How y'all doing tonight?
Oh, lovely.
We're great. We're great.
All right.
You excited about the post-game show Saturday?
What was that?
I'm asking Chase if he's excited about the post-game show
pumped.
Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all are already getting some pretty good
10-second dump button ready to go.
Go ahead, Bart. Sorry.
No problem. I'm down in Orange Beach. I'm gonna watch the game down here. Do you think I'm in fair territory watching the Ole Miss game at the Floribama on Saturday? Do you think that's a reasonable place to ask them to turn it to SEC Network instead of the Alabama-Utah State game and put it on Ole Miss Troy? Do you think that's a reasonable request?
Wait. What time is the Alabama game? The Alabama game's not till 6:30.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
So I'm good. You think that's reasonable?
Yes.
Yeah. You're good with that.
They like SEC
But
football.
I mean, there's a lot of good 3 p.m. games. There's a lot. I mean, I've looked at the schedule. I mean, they're going to have to turn on.
Oregon,
but Troy, you're not too terribly far from Troy on the Panhandle.
You think there's Troy fans at the Floribama?
Sure. Yeah, probably so. Could be. There's some people down there that probably aren't too terribly far from Troy. Yeah, as Auburn doesn't play till that night, Alabama doesn't play till that night, you're probably okay. LSU doesn't play till Sunday.
I don't want to piss anybody off there. You know how it is. I mean, they got bras hanging. It can get weird.
Yeah, no, you'd be okay. You'd be all right. I mean,
all right, we can watch at the condo, but it'd be fun to watch at the Floribama. But I don't want to piss those tattooed guys off there.
I'm in the minority on this. I think the Florida. I mean, at the risk of really pissing people off here, I think the Floribama is incredibly overrated.
Is it highly rated?
It depends on your taste.
Well, I mean, people are like, "Oh, I want to go to the Floribama." I'm like, "Why? What is it? What is it about the Floribama that is so appealing?" Bart?
Live music, tattooed women. It's a great combo.
Yeah.
It's your taste.
It is.
I mean, I'm from Hazelhurst. My name's Bart, so I like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking y'all. I didn't want to piss.
No, you're perfectly good to get one TV on the Ole Miss Troy game.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
They'll do that for you.
You're good.
Yeah, they'll do.
I'm gonna go in the corner, get my buddies, and we're going.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask for Ole Miss.
You might not get audio, but you'll get a TV.
What are the other 3:00 games?
No, I got my AirPods.
Georgia, Oregon.
Oh yeah, the Georgia Oregon's going to be on. You're going to have Alabama. I mean, Arkansas, Cincinnati. What time's the Ohio State game? It's at night.
Yeah.
It's at night. Ohio State, Notre Dame. That's a big one.
Yeah, you'll be okay. You'll be okay till. Yeah, you'll be all right.
No, I'm gonna get my AirPods on, get David Kellum on, and I'm gonna be in the corner with my buddies, and we'll get some land sharks, and it'll be fine.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Yeah, we will. Appreciate the call.
All right. Thank you.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'm not a big Floribama person. I've been a couple of times. It's like I don't get it. Like whatever. You a big Floribama person? You don't strike me as the biggest Floribama person in the world.
I mean, I'm probably a little bigger than you are, but yeah, very. That's not. I can find some other locale. I mean, look, No, it's not even necessarily that it's bad. It just is what it is. If you go there going, hey, I'm all in on exactly what I'm getting at the Florida Bama, okay, you have a good time.
Yeah.
But you've got to let your guard down and let it be.
I guess so.
You can't go in with nose in air at all. You got to go in going, nope, you know what? We're just going to – we're winning Rome.
It's just not my cup of tea.
We're winning Rome.
Not my cup of tea at all.
There's TVs. There's beer.
Yeah.
It's
fine.
There's people.
There's
people watching is readily available.
I think it's the people. It's not the TV or the beer.
You
it's
could people
the people.
watch.
You could.
You'll see some stuff.
You'd see a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, a whole lot.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
So do we know why on that other thing? Sorry, I'm a little perplexed.
I don't. And I'm starting to think it was not real, but I don't know because I don't know.
Okay.
Interesting though. And the way it popped up, I thought it was probably real because of the area code.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Pitt, West Virginia, 24 all.
Yeah, they're getting their money's worth in that game. What's the Penn State score? I know Penn State took a 21-10 lead, still 21-10 first part of the third quarter at Purdue. Penn State leads 21-10. Purdue let that kind of get away a little bit. Our must-go-to rivalry games you want to see in person. Is there a must-go-to? I've always wanted to go to Bedlam. I'm running out of time.
That's an interesting, fun one. That's
other rivalry games. I'd like to go to Michigan, Ohio State. That'd be cool. I want to go to Army Navy.
Army Navy's the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, if both teams were really good, I'd like to see like either Notre Dame, Michigan, or Notre Dame, USC at Notre Dame.
Okay, I'm with you there. Rivalry games. Because I've been to Georgia, Florida. I've been to Auburn, Alabama. Obviously, I've been to the Egg Bowl. I've been to LSU, Ole Miss. I've been to.
You ever done Oklahoma, Texas?
Yes. Been to the Red River Shootout. Isn't that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, State Fair.
Red
game.
River Rivalry, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
I wouldn't mind seeing Texas A&M if they were both kind of good. It'd be kind of fun to.
Where do you want to watch that at? Austin, right?
I think so. I think Austin.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Pac-12, I really have no other rivalry games to think of.
The only one that would be a little Oregon State, maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, that doesn't do a lot for me, but I mean, I'd think about it.
It's pretty lacking, honestly.
Yeah, there aren't just tons of them that just stick out where you go, oh, yeah, I got to see that. Like you could offer me NC State, I'd be like, I'll pass.
Oh, God.
That does nothing for me. Georgia Tech.
I mean, frankly, that would be top 15 at least.
Yeah, because they hate each other.
Yeah, it's like real.
Yeah, Iowa State at Iowa. I'd go to that.
I'm going to Iowa. Give me a Big Ten game.
Yeah, I want to go to Iowa and see like Wisconsin, Iowa. I want just.
He wants the full flavored.
I want to be
all fat Big Ten game.
I want to be there like drinking like fat beer and cheese. I just want to go with people handing me brats. I want just the Big Ten experience. Okay, Harvard, Yale. I wouldn't mind seeing that, and that'd be kind of fun. Except now, I'd be like, I hate all of you people.
Oh,
I would probably hate 90% of the people at a Harvard Yale game. I can't think of much that I frankly would like to see. Most of it's SEC stuff, and I've kind of seen a lot of it.
You kind of got that.
I've been there. Like Kentucky, Louisville, I'd rather see Kentucky, Tennessee.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, the ACC, I can't think of anything that is giving me, hey, yeah, definitely.
Michigan State. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Sure. There's a lot of Big Ten stuff I'm okay with.
Big Ten's good.
Like, I want to see a game at Wisconsin.
Yeah, jump around and all that stuff. Sure.
I'll do a game at Wisconsin. Whoever. Who cares? Wisconsin, Michigan State or something would be great.
I've done to Miami, Florida State. It was fine. They do hate each other, but it was fine. It was nothing special. Covered it in Tallahassee. It was okay. Tallahassee sucks. Let's just get that out there. Tallahassee, Florida sucks. Florida State's a dump. Let's be real.
Gainesville's not very good either.
Gainesville's severely overrated. And I wasn't blown away by Miami.
Yeah. Because you're in Coral Gables.
Yeah.
You're not on South Beach.
Yeah, it's fine. It's hotter than hell is what it was, sitting on that concrete. Hey, who do we have? Hey, who's this? Yeah, that number's hung up twice now.
Oh, really?
They seem to be confused.
Okay.
Yeah, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Oklahoma State. Bedlam is one that I'd like to see. That is probably going to be a victim of conference realignment, and that's one that I think we'll miss. Bedlam's been pretty good over the years. We've got some good games at Bedlam. There's an atmosphere there where you're like, oh, that looks like fun. Leif says he's trying to convince his children that the entire state of Florida doesn't exist. I get it. 59-7 Tennessee over Ball State. They're definitely going to cover. UCF leads South Carolina State 56-10. So you're off to a 1-0 start.
That's good.
Yeah, you lead Neal's picks after one game.
Scoreboard. And we all are going to tie this either way. So
So you're going to lead going into Saturday. Congratulations.
Thanks. Not going to go over on the
like
first weekend.
USC, UCLA doesn't do anything for me. Like Stanford, Cal does nothing for me. I'm not particularly interested.
I mean, if I've got to pick one game in the Pac-12, it's SC at Oregon.
Okay.
I think. Oh, BYU, Utah.
Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah. All in on BYU, Utah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It feels like they wouldn't like each other.
I wouldn't think so. Six 259-8563. The Apple Cup does nothing for me.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, we already talked about Army Navy. I'd be all in on that.
I'm not going to see Stanford Cal.
Nope. I've heard an Air Force home game is really cool. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I hated a game at Florida State. I covered a couple of games there. No thanks. Covered a baseball super regional there or regional there. Yes. No thanks. Not for me. Not for me. Just nah. Yeah, the backyard brawl tonight's been great. 24-24, 11:51 to go in the fourth quarter as we watch this. Missouri is about to punt. They're up 24-10 over Louisiana Tech. That game early in the third quarter.
They went 3 and out to open the second half, or ish.
Yeah. I'm not blown away by what I've seen from from Missouri. Tennessee looked impressive, but they were playing nobody. But they did look good. Hendon Hooker looked really good tonight.
They were good.
I'm not going to be the guy that's sitting here going Tennessee sucks because they don't look like they suck.
They did exactly what you would think they would do if they're going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, they did what a good team is supposed to do in an opener like that. I think Tennessee's one of the interesting teams in the league. I've said that. It's the part of this conversation that a lot of people don't understand. You're hyping these teams. I'm not hyping them. I'm saying there's outside of Alabama and Georgia and outside of probably Vanderbilt and Missouri,
it's all
we don't really know who's what. Like I think I kind of know. Like I think A&M's going to be good. I think Ole Miss is going to be good. I think Kentucky's going to be good. I think Arkansas is going to be good.
Tennessee.
Not great, good. I'm not hyping them. I think Tennessee's good. I think LSU could be good.
Yeah.
I think Mississippi State could be at least interesting. Auburn is – it's not that Auburn's good. It's that their schedule shapes up for them to get off to a good start. It does. We just went over it. I mean, they could be 5-1. And if they are, well, then maybe they're playing with a different level of confidence. It's not that they're a great team.
And now they could be 2-3.
And they could be 3-3 coming to Oxford with Brian Harson's seat just literally on fire as he walks into the stadium.
Yeah.
Apparently Purdue just scored. Making 21-16 pending the PAT early in the third. Don't run backwards. There you go. Get the first down. Watching Louisiana Tech. Do the Braves catch the Mets? Ryan Wiggins wants to know. I don't even know what the standings are. How far back are the Braves? Do you know?
Not. It was like 3.5 or something, maybe. I don't know. Hold on.
They could. They're probably both playoff teams.
Well, they are both playoff teams.
Yeah,
that's for sure. The standings in the NL East, 3.
Eric wants to know, would this year of a below-average state give Leach a hot seat? Yeah. I mean, I think if you said that Mississippi State went, say, 6-6 and they lost to Ole Miss, I think he'd be on the hot seat next year. Sure.
Yeah.
State's problem is that they're not in a position because of NIL and stuff. They're not really in a position to hand that job to anybody and feel super confident about it.
I don't even know what they would do.
I mean,
I have no idea what they would do at this point.
I mean, does Will Hall change the equation at Mississippi State?
Not yet.
You know, that's what I think too. All right, phones. Going to start shutting that down here pretty soon. Last call here, 662-259-8563. If you've got a call, now's the time. I don't know. I see Steve in the chat says, I tried calling in. What happened? I think when you tried to call, somebody else was on. I can't take 2 calls at once. I guess I could, but I don't know how that works.
I don't think you can. I don't think so.
So our thanks to Taylor Zarzer, again, for his time in the first hour. A lot of stuff, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, on the network. Hand Raised Guys is brought to you each and every Thursday by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Thanks to them. We will be back on Chase will have a post-game show on Saturday night after Ole Miss and Troy, 3 o'clock on the SEC Network, so probably around 6:20, 6:30. For Chase, I'll be a guest on that show from Vaught-Hemingway. Who else is coming on, Brian?
Yeah, we'll talk to Brian.
Brian, I think Jeffrey's expecting your call, so he'll have some guests from Ole Miss's opener against Troy. So, again, thanks to Taylor. Thanks to everybody who called in tonight. Thanks for Hey, who do we have?
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, who's this?
You called me.
No, you called here. That's why.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. It's why it rang. I did not call you. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Is that who that was?
I don't know. Maybe.
Don't
know.
Interesting way to end the show. I did not call. He called here. That's why you heard it ring. Interesting times.
Okay.
All right, we'll definitely stop there. So we'll let that be that. Enjoy your weekend. Ole Miss and Troy, 3 o'clock on Saturday. We'll have post-game coverage. And then, of course, we'll be back Monday morning with another edition of the Oxford Exxon podcast. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out, Mitchell says that definitely was.
Sounded like it.
I don't know that I know his voice.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I was not listening crazy closely because I had.
Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Neely from Madison. I was just following up on Bart from Hazelhurst call.
Yeah.
So we're Orange Beach as well, and we will be at Floribama Yacht Club, not Floribama. Don't be mistaken. Floribama Yacht Club is the one for day drinking. Floribama is the one for after hours with late night.
Yeah.
Just wanted to follow up with Bart. We'll be there at Floribama Yacht Club, 3 p.m. Saturday.
All right. Well, you guys will.
There's a TV available then. All right.
Take a picture and send it to us.
Sounds good.
All right. See ya. We're definitely stopping now. We're good. We're at that stage. So enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you on Saturday night and again on Monday. Until then, take care.